between the Between Interchange and London Road in Illiondale, Kempton Park. Traffic sluggish. This is on Modderfontein Road between Greenstone Mall and Centenary Way, and look out for those faulty traffic lights still in the Greenstone area. That's on Modderfontein Road and the N3. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Soccer and speed meet this season with Hollywood Bets and Aziz Shege. Be in the game. The thrilling competition sees 4 million rand in cash and prizes up for grabs. The first of 4 brand new vehicles is a top-of-the-range Toyota Rumian. Simply bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch to qualify. Feel the fever and bet now on the action. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Checkers Extra Weekend is back. For 3 days only, save extra on deals like Steakhouse Classic man-sized T-bone steak for 150 Rand per kilo. The Pack 250-gram tubs, any two for 139 Rand. Save 41 Rand. And Blue 52 all-in-one pool care, 1.2 kgs for 79 Rand. Save 100 Rand. Orange is the new black. Valid this weekend only at Checkers, while stocks last.
As South Africa assumes the G20 presidency in 2025, 702 and Standard Bank Group bring you exclusive conversations with the voices shaping Africa's economic future.
The Standard Bank Art Lab also grows from this legacy, right? We have the Standard Bank Gallery, which is in inner city of Johannesburg and was established in 1990. And the lab itself is an extension of this, a manifestation, so to speak, of this belief. And it's designed, I guess, to also break down these silos that often separates, I think, industries, publics. It separates, the way we think about shared vision and mutual understanding of art. So for us, it was also about bridging this gap between, partnerships between the public and the private sector, between tradition and innovation.
Brought to you by Standard Bank Group on 702. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Let's focus our attention now on Parliament. We are well into the first day of the appearance of suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. I think MP's questioning has just begun, or it's certainly about to get underway. Up to now, he's been in the hands of evidence leader advocate Norman Arendse. So what have we heard so far, and where does this all fit in terms of all the other points that have been made by the three people who have preceded the suspended minister into the hot seat? Babalo Ndenze, our EWN parliamentary colleague, is keeping an eye on things. Babalo, so far, what has jumped out for you as important? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. Yes, what's really been discussed today is just the political killings task team. That's all he's really focused on, an evidence leader, Norman Arendse. So he's really putting a lot of questions to Mkhwana, to Senzo Mchunu, about this political killings task team. There's this allegedly illegal directive from Mchunu to disband the political killing task team. But he started off by saying there's a clear distinction between a unit and a unit and a task team within the police. He says a structure like a task team is not permanent. It has a lifespan and a time frame. It can't go on forever. And once its duties are done, it should be wrapped up. And he's standing by that, and he's actually defending his decision to disband the task team. He's also telling members that, the CFO of the police at some point did, issue a budgetary item or an amount of money for the task team, which the CFO then said, it can't go on any further, which is a disbandment of sorts. So he's saying the issue of disbanding it or disestablishing it also own, submissions during his time as police minister. He also says, it's to save money, really. He says the political killings task team is to save taxpayers' money as well, disbanding it. And he says, this kind of a task team or structure should benefit the whole country and not just select provinces like KZN or the Eastern Cape, for example. And the main thrust behind this decision was to benefit the whole country. He even says, as the GNU, when he took over in the 7th administration, one of their imperatives is to focus on the whole country and not just certain areas. And he's saying that it should rather be absorbed or merged with the murder and robbery unit, and as part of this new approach that they are currently working on. And so all he's been doing today is defending his decision. He's saying it was a rational decision. He says, political killings are a serious and violent crime and should ultimately be determined or be looked into by serious and violent crime units in the country, and not just Gauteng, KZN, the Western Cape, and the Eastern Cape. And he says, therefore, he gives an example that there are 4 categories of murders. And this is, organized murder, taxi violence-related murder, political murder, as well as personal killings. And he's saying that this is the kind of philosophy they need to look at now going forward, and not just zoom in on one province. And the decision to disband the task team was the right decision ultimately.
Thanks so much, Mabalo and Denze. I did say that I thought that Minister Senzo Mchunu was actually now in the hands of the members of Parliament, but I misread what I saw on screen. It was probably one of the MPs raising a point of order, or perhaps looking for some clarity, but it is still that stage of the process where he's being led through his evidence. Of course, if this was his thinking and these were the discussions that he felt had to be gone through in order to work out the very best way of dealing with these kinds of problems in the country, you would expect there would be meeting minutes, there would be exchanges of emails and so on. Be interesting to see if and when those come out. That's the part of all of this that I find most interesting, is at a certain point all of this has to be substantiated in some way. Was anyone else there when you met? Always a good question in my view. 25 minutes past 3.
Drive home with John Perlman
On 702, let's walk the talk.
Right, by-elections, the imprecise but intriguing nonetheless insights that we get each time a community somewhere in South Africa goes to the polls. We do not ever engage in these chats with my guest, Wayne Sussman, and say, well, this tells us what's going to happen next year. But boy, does it give us some interesting indicators. And this week, I think, was particularly intriguing. Wayne Sussman, a very good afternoon to you. 3 setbacks for the ANC. I want to start off in the rural northwest, which I would have said a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, would just be an absolutely nailed on ANC seat. And this time round, it wasn't. Why?
Thank you, John. You're 100% correct. The rural northwest is one of the most resolute parts of the country for the ANC. And here, Action SA got an historic win by beating the ANC by 2 votes. Yes, John, 2 votes. You've heard the adage, every vote counts. Well,
yes.
In this particular by-election, every vote did count. So there's a party from the Northwest, the Forum for Service Delivery. And in January of this year, they joined up with Action SA. Their councillors joined the green umbrella of Action SA. And essentially, they had a lot of infrastructure in this area. And Action SA essentially held on to that Forum for Service Delivery vote in the village of Mogola, near Zeerust in the northwest. The ANC fell dramatically. An independent candidate really ate their lunch in their strongholds. And Action SA today have a councillor in the northwest. It's quite a result, John.
Let's go to the south of Joburg, something of a hybrid, because if I'm correct, this ward on the one hand has parts of Soweto, but it also encompasses Noordgesig, which has a different present and past.
That's correct, John. So this also includes areas like Dipkloof, Orlando East, and Pennyville. So 4 different parts of Soweto. Noordgesig is a predominantly coloured area. And the Patriotic Alliance won this ward off the ANC last night. Noordgesig used to be a very competitive area between the DA and the PA. It swung towards the PA. Well, last night in the one voting district, the Patriotic Alliance won almost 3/4 of the vote. And not only did they win in Noordgesig handily, there was a turnout differential. Voters in Noordgesig were excited to vote, and they were excited to vote for the Patriotic Alliance. And so this is one of the reasons why the PA was able to win. Another reason, John, is a place like Orlando East, where again you started by saying that a year ago, 2 years ago, these would have been very safe ANC areas. Well, in Orlando East last night, the EFF was the most popular party, and Action SA came second, and the ANC came third. That is an astonishing result. So
Yes.
I'm talking about the results within the ward. And then in Pennyville, Umkhonto weSizwe was the most popular party, and a small party was the second most popular party, and the ANC only third. So these are stunning results, John. So the PA did what they needed to do in the ward, but the ANC will also be concerned what happened in other parts of Soweto.
And just finally, let's go down into the Western Cape there. The numbers in terms of between elections are quite astonishing, because the Patriotic Alliance, 51% takes a ward off the ANC in the Railton area of Swellendam. That's in the larger Overberg municipality. But the PA going from just over 1% to 51%, and the ANC pretty much nosediving.
That's correct. Well, there's a very popular candidate. The ACDP used to do well here for many years, John, in this area. He defected to the ANC. He defected to the PA. That's part of the story. But it's a continuation of the trend of many of these small towns in the Western Cape, like we saw in this Noordgesig by-election, gravitating towards Gate Mackenzie and the Patriotic Alliance. And they'll be delighted. It's an historic win for them last night.
Wayne Sussman, thank you very much, joining us with his take on by-elections. 702 Drive. Right, let's get the very latest eyewitness news with Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Students are currently mobilizing at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology's Bellville campus amid concerns over tuition fees. Disgruntled students say they handed over a memorandum of demands to CPUT management just yesterday. Earlier this week, the institution proposed measures to curb institutional debt, including increased tuition as well as residence fees. Carlo Peterson has more.
South African Student Congress member Siyavuya Mteli says students handed over a memorandum to CPUT management at 4 p.m. yesterday. Mteli says CPUT was given 24 hours to respond to their demands, which include scrapping its proposed measures to curb institutional debt. The plan includes an application fee, increased tuition and residence fees, and an upfront tuition fee payment of 3,500 rand.
We submitted a memorandum yesterday as students, so we are waiting, mobilizing, because we anticipate that they might not give us the response that we want.
CPUT spokesperson Loden Kansley confirmed receipt of the memorandum, saying it's important to note that there are no approved plans to adjust student fees at the institution. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
In Gauteng, grade 12 learners are expected to commit to taking on the final matric exams with honesty, integrity and accountability. They will be taking part in a signing ceremony for the official National Senior Certificate exams tomorrow in Johannesburg. More than 700,000 learners are expected to sit for this year's final exams. Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona says MEC Matume Chilwane will be leading the event.
The pledge reinforces the importance of ethical behavior, the fairness in the conduct of the examinations, while fostering a sense of responsibility and pride among learners in the exam centers.
We'll shift our focus to this now. The Centre of Excellence for Food Security says while South Africa is considered a food secure country, many households face food insecurity. The concerns come as the globe marks World Food Day today. It adds there's also been a big shift from the world to more processed foods which lack nutritional value. Director at the centre, Julian May, says this is often because processed foods tend to be cheaper. He adds that processed foods tend to be filled with empty calories, leading to weight gain.
We also have an enormous problem of overweight and obesity, and that is because people are eating food which is energy dense but is poor in providing nutrition. And that's not because people are greedy or people are spending too much money on the food. It's because those are the kinds of foods that are cheap.
At the same time, the Pope has described the world's failure to stop millions of people going hungry a collective failure. This comes after the World Food Agency announced yesterday that 319 million people are facing acute food insecurity, including 44 million in emergency levels of hunger. Pope Leo says large amounts of food have gone to waste in the world, while multitudes of people scramble to find something in the garbage to put in their mouths. He is urging people to rethink their lifestyle as well as their priorities. It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 31 and 33 degrees.
Randburg, accident scene N1 southbound before Malibongo Drive, causing huge delays all the way from Winnie Mandela Drive. Bedford View stationary truck N3 southbound near Van Buren, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from Linksfield Road. As a result, also coming into the Kilulis interchange, we have about a 20-minute delay on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange.
The top story in EWN this hour. Students are currently mobilizing at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology's Bellville campus amid concerns over tuition fees.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Many would argue that it is the story of two cities, that the affluent areas are experiencing one kind of service, whereas the impoverished areas are receiving a different kind of service. What is your response to that?
The story of two cities is the story of Cape Town and Johannesburg. Those are the two cities that we need to compare. So of course, there are still challenges. There will be for a long time. But despite those, we are moving forward in the right direction.
Jordan Hill-Lewis.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Every day I'm hustling. It's our reality as business owners. And it's good to know that there's someone out there who takes care of the business that makes the business. Gotta love My Way Business Insurance. Saving big on premiums with 24/7 emergency services, plus My Business Assist with marketing, legal, and labor advice services.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
The future of mobility is here, and it's powered by clean energy. Join business leaders, policymakers, and innovators at the NEV Summit 2025, taking place on 22 and 23 October. Together, we're driving Africa's green industrial revolution, building new industries, creating jobs, and positioning Gauteng as the hub of sustainable mobility. Visit evsummit2025.co.za to learn more. The NEV Summit 2025, driving Gauteng towards a green automotive economy.
If this ad caught your ear, imagine what Prime Media can do for your business. With SA's leading media company, your message reaches the right audience across radio, digital audio, video, and display. The Prime Impact Sales Event is coming to Joburg, 3 to 7 November, and Cape Town, 10 to 13 November. Register today for a free demo commercial, a custom campaign, and unbeatable annual partnerships. Seats are limited. Secure yours now at primeimpact.co.za.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hello, John and team. This week I was doing ostrich for the first time, and my daughter said, "Oh, let me know how it goes." So I sent her a message and I said, well, first I would sear it, and then, and then I would sort of slice it and finish it off in the pan. And so instead of sear, the predictive text had said wear. And so she sent me a picture of Lady Gaga, and she said she did it first. And it was hilarious because, I said, well, then I probably need a couple of ostriches to wear it. But I think sometimes, the predictive text really just gets away from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Luckily, it was my daughter. This is Bev in Joburg.
Hi, John. It's Tabiso from Soweto. John, I'm watching the ad hoc committee on the SAPS on Parliament. I'm confused. Is the person interviewed a minister or a national commissioner? Because the minister sounds like a national commissioner in terms of SAPS operational things. No, I haven't heard anything about policy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting observation, and that's you're putting your finger on one of the matters that I think is going to be central to both deliberations, Matlanga, and what's going on in the House, i.e., what are the boundaries, both legal and historical, almost. I think one could say. That set limits on to what extent the minister actually gets involved in these kinds of choices and these kinds of decisions. So yeah, I think you're pointing to something that's A, going to be very much in focus, and B, is going to be very, very interesting when that focus sharpens. It's 21 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
So the Rugby Championship will not be played next year. Tolakele Mganga has all the details and reasons why. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. And the Springboks won't get a chance to do a three-peat in the tournament next year after SANZA announced that it won't be played in 2026. It will, however, return to the global calendar for the following 3 years, including a full version ahead of the 2027 World Cup in Australia. In its place, New Zealand will tour South Africa for multiple tests, while World Rugby is also launching a new Nations Championship in July and the November windows. Looking ahead to next year's FIFA World Cup, American President Donald Trump has threatened to take away games from host cities on the basis of their political leadership or opposition to his policies. The World Footballing Governing Body has not directly commented on changes on any of those 11 venues in the United States, but say a host country has the right to determine if cities are safe for the tournament.
Somebody said, would we think about taking the World Cup away from Boston if they don't straighten it out? And the answer is yes, we have the right to do that with FIFA. So if we think that LA is going to be bad, or we think that applies a little bit to the Olympics too, but we'll talk about FIFA first. You know, FIFA is very hot. If we think there's any reason that, whether it's Boston or anywhere else, that they're not doing their job, we're going to take those World Cup games and move them someplace else.
As for SAFA, the NEC has recommended the appointment of Molefi Ntseki as technical director, while Desiree Ellis has renewed her contract as Banyana Banyana head coach. Both have been appointed on 4-year deals. Switching over to the Cricket World Cup, where the Proteas women will return to action against Sri Lanka tomorrow. Nonkululeko Mlaba has discussed the growing belief in the side following their hard-fought win over Bangladesh on Monday.
Obviously, as a team, we're trying to take each game at a time. And obviously our main focus is to try and win all the games that we play. And the confidence is there for the team. We're just ready for the next game.
On the pitch, Bangladesh posted 198 for 9 against Australia as Shabana Mutsansari top scored with 66, while Ashley Gardner was among 4 bowlers to take 2 wickets each. The Southern Stars have begun their response and are currently 37 without any loss in the 6th over. They need 162 more runs for victory. Batting is Elisa Healy on 19 alongside Phoebe Litchfield on 13. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
7:02 drive, it's 19 minutes to 4. Let's get the very latest from the roads. The N1 South, as it moves through Randburg, is a place where we have problems. Karabo.
Yeah, there's an accident scene on that route, N1 South in the Randburg area. That accident scene is just before Malibongwe Drive, and it's causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from Rivonia Road. So avoid that route at all costs. Rather use Witkoppen Road as an alternative. Calvin Alex area, roadwork still slowing down traffic on the N3 southbound. This is between the Paclu Interchange and London Road in Bedford View. A stationary truck on the N3 southbound in the middle lane near Van Buren. This is already causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from Linksfield Road. As a result, traffic is also heavily backed up. This is on the R24 westbound. You can expect about a 20-minute delay between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis Interchange. And in Illiondale, we still have bumper-to-bumper traffic on Modderfontein Road between Greenstone Mall and Centenary Way. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 drive. So I'm just wondering if any of you have made mistakes in messages, typos that have led to some misunderstandings. Cabello sends us this message, a simple, I wish you were her, instead of I wish you were here. Once earned me a black eye. Okay. Cabello, I suspect the story has a few twists and turns before it led to that. But yes, thank you very much. This one from Sakini says, let's eat grandma instead of let's eat, comma, grandma. Okay. Sakini, thank you for that. Tolakele, have you ever received a message, misunderstood it, misread it, or got a message where the other person maybe had a finger slip, or maybe you yourself were the author of the communication, but anything like that happen in your life that you've remembered?
I have received like a long declaration of love and to say they really enjoyed hanging out with me. They're hoping that we can continue having this relationship, blah, blah, blah. And I went through that. Then I clicked on the profile and looked at the number. I was like, I have no idea who this person is. And I very nicely said, thank you for this, but I think you sent it to the wrong person.
Yes.
'Cause it was really sweet. But for me, I was just like, don't waste your words on someone who
Yes.
has no idea what you're talking about.
So that wasn't a typo. That was getting the wrong address completely. Here's a story. This doesn't involve typing, but from Eldon, I'll paraphrase it. A classmate was asked by his dad to watch the dog. He then proceeded to get out the bucket, the soap, the water, and on his return, seeing that the dog was extremely clean. He says he got some hot claps for that, which sounds to me a bit unfair. I mean, hey, a clean dog, not to be laughed at. 702 Drive, it's now 14 minutes to 4.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9. It's all part of this quagmire of corruption, this cesspool, this gaping wound that has festered and now is oozing pus, a putrid yellow and green liquid, a mess of corruption that is vile. And you can smell it from far away, can't you? Whether it's higher education or the various departments of health. It's a society rotting from inside. What are we going to do about it?
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
The South African Future Trust Summit is back and bolder than ever. This year, Standard Bank joins as headline sponsor, underscoring the summit's role as South Africa's leading platform for entrepreneurship. On 5 and 6 November at the Sandton Convention Center, connect with leading entrepreneurs, investors, and change makers. This is where bold ideas meet transformative investment. Get your tickets now at summits.southafricanfuturetrust.org in partnership with 702.
Ask yourself, what matters most? Is it being there for their first steps and still around for their first dance? Knowing you're not just covered, but cared for. Bonitas goes beyond benefits and claims. We're in your corner for what matters most. Bonitas, medical aid for South Africa. Voted #1 medical aid in the Ask Africa Orange Index Awards for the second year running. Visit bonitas.co.za and find your plan.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, still to come on the show. We are going to be taking a closer look at what happened at the Commission of Inquiry, or rather the ad hoc committee today. Analysis of what Minister Senzo Mchunu had to say. We've still got a couple of hours to catch up on and update on what Babalo Ndenze had to say. And we're also going to be looking at some of the numbers coming out in regard to gambling in South Africa. Gross revenue of 75 billion rand in the 2024-25 financial year. That's a big number, and some people say, well, that sounds good. But obviously there are many, many issues around gambling and people's involvement with them. That interview coming up at about 12 minutes past 5 o'clock. It's 13 minutes to 4.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
702 Drive. So let's talk now about the situation in our hospitals and focus in particular on Tembisa Hospital. The word coming out of the Gauteng Department of Health is that in spite of everything that went wrong in terms of looting at the Tembisa Hospital, the hospital is back in business and delivering to the people of that area and surroundings exactly what they should be getting. we thought we would clock in with one of the nursing unions, TENOSA, and find out what their take is, because after all, their members are getting a ward level view of exactly what's going on. Bongani Mazibuko is the Gauteng Provincial Secretary at the Union TENOSA and joins us now. Mr. Mazibuko, welcome and thanks very much for your time. What are your members who work at Tembisa saying? Is everything running as it should there? Have they got everything they need? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, and thanks for the opportunity. What we are receiving from Tembisa is that things are not as they should be. The same problems that were there even before the latest scandal of the fire are still persisting. The shortage of staff, shortage of resources, overcrowding. So I wouldn't say that the report that the MEC received saying that everything is normal is correct. I would actually go to say that it is a lie.
So in terms of the shortages, let's break this down a little bit. Staff shortages are an issue that we've been faced with in Gauteng hospitals for a while. What about issues of supplies? And we've heard, for example, that the air conditioning in the operating theatres is not working properly, which is delaying people's access to surgery. Is it those kinds of things? I mean, what are the key gaps that your members are bringing to your attention?
It's issues like shortage of medication. The latest one is shortage of syringes in the wards. You know, those are essentials that the nurses need in order to be able to give medication and administer the different drugs that to the patients. So if those small things are not in place, then people are not able to do their job that they've been hired to do, and the patients are not able to receive the treatment that they should be getting. So if I were to speak to the MEC, I'd actually ask her to say that we need to look deeper into what is happening into Tembisa. And we know that some of the challenges are systemic in that Tembisa is catering for a broad base of the top township. It's not just focusing on Tembisa, but they're servicing a much bigger contingent of patients, including Ivory Park and so forth. So the budget that they're getting is not enough. So to say that Tembisa is functioning adequately is wrong, and it's incorrect.
The expression I think she used, I'm just looking at the Gauteng Health Department's posting on their Facebook page. It reads, Gauteng Health MEC Nkomo Ralihuku says all services at Tembisa Hospital are fully operational. Is it possible that their view of fully operational and yours are actually different? That maybe the Gauteng Department of Health has a different set of measures and maybe they set the bar a little bit lower than the people who are your members and other staff?
It would be different if you are saying that services are running because we are saying those people who are supposed to go to eye clinic is open, those who are internal medicine is open and also is open. But as to whether the people are getting the service that they deserve and should be getting, that is a different story. Because people are not getting the service that they ought to be getting according to the standards of the Nursing Council, the HPCSA, and all the different bodies that are responsible for the standard that patients should be getting from Tembisa.
So if I understand you correctly, there's a confusion between saying a particular department is open and saying that department is functioning at the level it should be.
Definitely. I think that would be where I would put it, because having the departments open and having the departments functioning optimally and giving the people of Gauteng the service that they need, those are two different things.
Right.
And where we are standing, we believe that the people of Tembisa and surrounding areas are not getting the service that they need, and we cannot say that there was a loss as big as 2 billion in the past few financial years. But we want to claim that the hospital is functioning optimally. As it stands right now, the hospital is faced with an acting CEO, Dr. Lowe, who's managing both Tembisa and Caesar Hospital.
Right.
That is instability in our view. So you cannot then want to say that in the absence of having appointed a permanent CEO, then you want to tell me that the hospital is functioning optimally. That is incorrect.
So, Mr. Mazibuko, let's take our lens wider than simply Tembisa, and let me ask you this, because the other point the MEC seemed concerned to make was that the kind of systematic and industrial scale looting of public money that has been documented in regard to Tembisa, she said, is not happening in any other hospitals, and she seemed very certain that was the case. Are you as confident, or do you have concerns that maybe this kind of method could be used to loot other places of public health?
I think we should have an overhaul of management in the Department of Health, because I think we've said this previously. In the past few years, this is Mr. Komoran who has done a lot to try and stabilize the department. But if you look at it, we've had a big change in terms of instability, in terms of MECs, HODs, and CFOs that have been coming and going in the department. But the people who are managing the hospitals and so forth, it's like the CEOs are doing a merry-go-round. You'll move one CEO from Bara, take that CEO to Caesar Hospital or to another hospital. And then those people are still doing the same things that they were doing in the previous hospital. So it doesn't bring about change that is required in order to strengthen the system or for the people to be able to get service delivery. So where we are, it's like the department is playing musical chairs, but we should be appointing permanent CEOs, making sure that people are able to take the decisions that they need to take in order to strengthen the systems that should be there. But of particular importance is that we are not happy because all these things come back and affect our members. They end up getting blamed for the poor service that the patients are getting.
I want to ask you just finally, because two issues around spending of public money in the health sector, Mr. Mazibuko, has been one on contracts for fire prevention and the other is on security, whether in some instances the department may be paying too much. Let's talk about how secure your members feel and what feedback they give you when either shop stewards report back or you and your colleagues in the leadership are doing visits. First of all, in regard to fire, you mentioned right at the start the fire that took place at Tembisa Hospital. What's your sense of the adequacy of fire prevention systems in Gauteng public health facilities?
I don't think, from where we are, the fact that there's an absence of an occupational health and safety committee in the Department of Health, that's alarming. That's our concern. And in the absence of that, it then means that how is the department able to make sure that issues of safety and occupational health and safety are taken care of and there's compliance in those areas? We have it on good authority that some of the hospitals don't even have occupational certificates which should be issued by the different municipalities. So now that in itself then tells us that we cannot then say that they're guaranteed that. And just speaking at the top of my head, I don't even remember when was the last time I heard that Charlotte McClegor or even Steve Biko had a fire drill.
Yes.
Those things are not being done. If those things are not being done, then how do we then want to say that we've got fire safety processes in place and fire prevention in place, and yet we're not even doing a simple thing like a fire drill to make sure that people know what they're supposed to do in case of a fire. And in terms of security, the department is spending way too much. I think we had this conversation probably last year, where we said that at the time when Mr. Makura was still the premier of Gauteng, there was a declaration to say that all departments in Gauteng should in-source security. But the Department of Health is one of the departments that has struggled to implement that. And yet, if you look at the amount of money they are paying compared to what it should actually cost us to pay a security who's employed by the department, it will be paying far less.
Yes.
So obviously, then it means that those security companies are cash cows to us, and they're not doing the job that they're supposed to be doing.
Thank you so much. Bongani Mazibuko, Gauteng Provincial Secretary at DENOSA. And obviously a nursing trade union will have a pretty good idea of what it's like, what kind of feedback they get from members, what they see when they go into the field and conduct visits. But if you're working in a Gauteng hospital, and please, I'm really keen to hear if some of them are really well run and starting to get a grip on all the problems that Mr. Mazibuko was outlining, please call us with that as well. We'd love to hear. I mean, if you found a way to turn things around, irrespective of what kind of budget and use and support you're getting from higher up, it's important that we know about that as well. 2 minutes now to 4.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
The National Gambling Board lamenting the rise in gambling advertising. Statistics from the board recording 1.5 billion rand in gambling turnover. The figures are staggering, aren't they?
We actually did expect that there's going to be a slight increase, but if you're looking at the revenue, 1.1 trillion to 1.5, it is a concern. But also to add to this, there is no regulations that have been passed or anything to that effect to actually minimize the harm.
Sibongile Simelane Kundana.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Oh, dreamers. They love to watch the dice roll, chasing that rush, that one big win. But then there's a different kind of player. Those who rely on strategy and not chance, who know that winning is earned. Those people play with SportPesa. SportPesa. Make it count. SportPesa is licensed by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No person under the age of 18 permitted to gamble. National Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 650 710. Winners know when to stop.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for plumbers, electricians, and other tradesmen. Pumlani.
Switching to Outsurance was one of the best decisions that we've ever made. We needed business cover over 15 million. Outsurance came forth for us. At Kani, we sleep better at night, knowing that we always get something out of Outsurance.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive. It's good to have you with us on the show. We're going to give you the news at 4 in just a moment because it is almost 4 o'clock. Some of you are responding to the question we asked a little bit earlier about small typos, either in messages that you got or messages that you sent, or a perfectly typed message that you misread. The misunderstandings can be much, much bigger than the number of letters that were actually mistyped. So give us your messages on that. Please do keep those coming on 011 883 0702. I'm also keen to know if anyone been watching Minister Senzo Mchunu in that hearing in Parliament. What do you think so far? Have you been persuaded, or do you have more questions than you did at the start of the session? It's 4 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Mchunu defends directive to disband political killings task team. An agreement has been reached between UFS and student representatives. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Police Minister Senzo Mchunu has defended his decision in relation to the political killings task team. Mchunu says the task team simply mirrors the work of other specialized units in the country. Mchunu is currently before Parliament's ad hoc committee, which is probing allegations of corruption in the criminal justice system. He believes the task team should be absorbed into the murder and robbery unit. His sentiments come after National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola cited plans to establish a political killings task team in Gauteng.
If you establish a political killings task team in Gauteng, it means you are putting them over and above organized crime unit, over and above serious and violent crimes unit.
Mchunu says the formation of a PKTT in Gauteng will create a bigger problem within the police service.
So what you are going to do with your funding, you are going to pull people into the political killings task team, and those who remain in these two units, they are not going to do anything.
Minister in the presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, has praised law enforcement agencies for their recent efforts to hold those accountable for tender fraud accountable. It follows the Special Investigating Unit's latest report exposing syndicates linked to the 2 billion rand tender corruption at the Tembisa Hospital. The SIU recently raided the home of alleged tender corruption mastermind Hangwani Maumela in an attempt to recover nearly 900 million rand of the stolen funds. Addressing the media following a cabinet meeting today, Minister Nchabeni emphasized that the SIU must be given the space to continue with its work.
The SIU works because the president has assigned it to say there's an area of concern. So SIU is not a result of accident. It's intentional work of government. The fact that you see action being taken, it means the fight against corruption, it's right on course, and we must celebrate that as South Africans.
To this now, the University of the Free State has reached an agreement with student representatives that a contentious new policy will only be implemented in 2 years' time. The policy stipulates that students who owe the institution will no longer be allowed to provisionally register. Today's resolution means that next year, students with debt can still be absorbed on the system. Students rejected the policy announcement last week, which was to be immediately implemented, and they staged a protest at the Kwakwa campus. Jabulile Mbata has more.
The university and student representatives have concluded that only after 2 years can the management implement its policy that stipulates that students with outstanding debt cannot be provisionally registered. Starting today, staff at the Bloemfontein and South campus are returning to campus. However, the Kwakwa campus remains closed as investigations into the damage of property and arson case continue. University of Free State spokesperson Leisha Loader.
Academic staff will return to the campus in a phased approach and also applied as per the program demands. The deans of our faculties will manage this process and is also in communication with our students and also with staff.
Students continue with online learning. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News.
Disgruntled community members of the Empolweni and Etembeni informal settlements in Makaza and Khayelitsha have denied setting a police signal alight during a protest. A group of protesters took their frustrations to the streets last night over a lack of electricity in the area. They blocked Baden-Powell Drive with burning tyres and huge rocks. They say promises to connect them to the electricity grid have not been met since occupying the land along Baden-Powell Drive 5 years ago. Ntutuzelo Nene has more.
Police say members who were called to the scene of the protest were attacked and noticed smoke inside the vehicle and jumped out. No injuries were reported and a case of attempted murder, public violence and malicious damage to property is being investigated. Community leader Selby Kolosa says police caused the damage to their own vehicle by driving through burning tires.
So we don't know why they stop on the burning tires. After they arrest children and say they are the ones who burned the car. How can we burn this? And there were police inside.
Another community leader, Alex Matikane, says the protest will continue until their demands are met.
The Western Cape government, they must come and help these people, give them electricity. It's all they want.
Calm has been restored and a large police presence remains in the area to monitor the situation. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News in Cape Town.
And Uruguay has legalized euthanasia. 20 out of 31 legislators voted in favor of passing the law approved by the lower chamber of representatives in August. It comes after 10 hours of a debate on an issue that several lawmakers described as the most difficult to make. The country is one of the first countries in the region and amongst dozens worldwide to now allow assisted dying. Gold is trading at $4,225.56 an ounce. The rand is at 17.32 to the dollar, 23.29 to the pound, 20.20 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $61.91 a barrel.
Well, some good news. That accident seen in Randburg N1 South before Malibongo Drive has been cleared. However, traffic remains sluggish from Winnie Mandela Drive in Bedfordview. We're still dealing with that stationary truck N3 South near Van Buren, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from Modderfontein Road.
In your sport, SANZA confirmed that the Rugby Championship won't be played in 2026. SAFA announced Desiree Ellis has signed a 4-year contract extension to stay on as Banyana coach. And Donald Trump threatens to remove World Cup games from Boston and Los Angeles.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 14 and 27. And Vereeniging also a low of 14 and a high of 28. The top story in EWN this hour. Police Minister Senzo Mchunu has defended his decisions in relation to the political killings task team.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes past 4 on 702 Drive. How's your day been? How does your evening look ahead? Hope it's been a decent Thursday. Coming up over the next hour or so, we're going to be talking in a moment about a court case going on in Pretoria. This in regard to former President Jacob Zuma. This in regard to 28.9 million rand in taxpayers' funds that the government is saying, the presidency is saying, is owed to taxpayers. It needs to be paid by the former president because this is money he received to fund his corruption trial defense. And in 2021, the Supreme Court of Appeal confirmed that he was actually not entitled to that continued state funding of his trial defense bill. So then it went into January 2024, litigation launched against the former president, and on Wednesday it finds itself in court again. We will find out more details about that when we chat to News 24 legal journalist Karen Moore, and that's coming up a little bit later. But lots of other interesting things in the news. I'm struck, and I'm very glad, by the way, that there's agreement now reached at the Free State University about provisional registration and suspension of a decision. But boy, things tend to get hot and heated and often incredibly destructive on our campuses before these kinds of settlements are reached. And I've expressed my views before about the wholesale destruction of property down at Fort Hare University and what the cost of that was, never mind the money involved in replacing the buildings, but also the things that were lost. Research material, PhD students who've been doing stuff for years, finding that their work had been destroyed. So I get all of that, but I do wonder, we do seem to loop around these issues every year, and maybe you've got an idea about how that might be solved and might be settled a little bit more effectively. Another issue that is out there, which I think I'd love to get your views on, is a comment that was made by SAFA President Danny Jordan. It was the morning after Bafana Bafana's fabulous win over Rwanda, and of course Nigeria's success over Benin meant that we are definitely going to North America for the 2026 World Cup. But in an interview with Newsroom Africa, Mr. Jordan was asked about the investigation into the blunder that saw Bafana Bafana denied 3 points, docked 3 points, a change to their goal difference as well, and all of that put the 2026 World Cup dream at risk. So what is going to happen with the investigation? Well, this is what the SAFA president had to say.
Well, we are going to the World Cup, so the matter is closed. We are not interested in the matter. We are going to the World Cup. We've qualified, and that's where we go. We are not going to dwell on what is behind us is behind us. What is in front of us is the World Cup, is the African Cup of Nations. We've spoken. The coach must have told you that we are focusing on now the next point, the African Cup of Nations in Morocco, and then the World Cup.
So by that logic, if a bus goes through a red traffic light, there is an accident, but nobody died, do you then say, well, we're not going to investigate the qualifications of the driver or the quality of their brakes? I mean, that to me is nonsensical. Surely, if there was a blunder of that degree of materiality, surely you've got to find out what happened so that the person who did it or the people who allowed it to happen or whatever caused it, you make absolutely sure that they don't do it again. surely some accountability. The fact that the coach wants to focus on AFCON and the World Cup thereafter doesn't mean that you can't do other things. We can multitask. Anyway, it's not going to lie then. It's not going to lie there because Sport, Arts and Culture Minister Gayton McKenzie said this on X. He said, "We can't leave this matter unattended. What have we learned from this? We are a country with rules, and Brand SA got hurt tremendously by this blunder. No matter is closed." He continues and concludes, "It's opening now." Now, I did say that he's going to have a statement out before the end of the day. We're going to look out for that and share it with you as soon as we can. If we can get the minister on the show, we will. But what I'm really keen to know from you is, what do you think? I mean, do you think in the justifiable enthusiasm and indeed euphoria of the breathtakingly good performance by the team on the night and the fact that Nigeria did us a solid and smashed Benin in the way that they did, all of that notwithstanding, surely you have to go back and say what went so calamitously and potentially ruinously wrong. I mean, it happened. We can't pretend it did. Anyway, those are my views. What are yours? Give us a call on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. Some of you have been using that number, by the way, to respond to the question I asked a little bit earlier about a typo you made or a message misread that led to some significant understandings. This is what a few of you had to say.
Afternoon, Dr. John and the team. For me, it wasn't the wrong or the typo. It was using the wrong emoji. I was sending condolences to someone, and instead of pressing the flowers, you know, like those, the flowers on WhatsApp, instead I selected the laughing emoji and hit send straight away. But somehow, just after sending, something said, man, check that message. That emoji that was not colorful like the flowers. And then I realized quickly it was the laughing emoji. I don't know whether she read it or not, but it allowed me to delete for everyone. And I resent the real one.
Brajon, on the predictive text, I suppose maybe a good thing. It often changes my profanities, you know, having a serious verbal joust, and it changes your profanities to inanimate objects. That's a little frustrating. And you can't go back after you've tried to cuss someone out and all the profanities are swapped with animals, feathered animals, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting what predictive texting does. This one from Anonymous says, I got a message once so full of typos, it was pure comedy gold. It began, "Please bear with me," BARE, while I undress the issue. Then it came, "I hope you are filing fine and whether the meeting will rain tomorrow." It went on for a while in that vein. Anonymous, thank you. I also got a message, by the way, from people who had just moved into the building where I live, and they said, "Hi, we're your new neighbors. Please bear with us," BARE. They were going to be making, obviously, the noise that one does as furniture moves up and down the stairs. And I thought, bear with you? I haven't even met you. Might be a little early for that. 16 minutes past 4, never too early to find out what's going on out in the traffic with Karabo Chale. Karabo, a very good afternoon to you. Let's get out onto the roads.
EWN Traffic.
Bedford View, not good. Tell us why.
Well, there's a stationary truck that's on the N3 southbound near Van Buren, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from Modderfontein Road. As a result, also if you're traveling through Edenvale heading into Bedford View, traffic is also heavily backed up. Expect about a 20-minute delay on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange in Calvin. Roadwork still causing heavy delays on the N3 southbound between the Patrines Change and London Road in Illiondale, Kempton Park area. Bumper-to-bumper traffic on Modderfontein Road between Greenstone Mall and Parkland Drive. Randburg traffic still a bit sluggish on the N1 southbound This is between Winnie Mandela Drive and Malibongo Drive due to an earlier accident. Bryanston, also slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Main Road. And finally, in Windsor West, Randburg, there's slow-moving traffic on Bayers Nodia between Judges and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9. It's all part of this quagmire of corruption, this cesspool, this gaping wound that has festered and now is oozing pus, a putrid yellow and green liquid, a mess of corruption that is vile. And you can smell it from far away, can't you? Whether it's higher education or the various departments of health. It's a society rotting from inside. What are we going to do about it?
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
He's the boss, the legend, the sound of a generation. Now his story hits the big screen. And 702 is giving you the chance to win big. Play 2 truths and a lie. 3 Bruce Springsteen facts. One of them, though, is not true. WhatsApp Springsteen ZA to 072 7021 702, and we could be calling you to play. Spot the line, win cash, screening tickets, and a collector's vinyl package. Only on 702.
Feel the rhythm of summer at the Old Mutual Music in the Gardens, featuring Mikasa and Jazeel Brothers, live on Saturday, 25 October at the Walter Sisulu Botanical Garden. Experience soulful sounds, sunshine, and good vibes in one of Joburg's most beautiful settings. Get your tickets now at webtickets.co.za. Proudly presented by Old Mutual, 702 and Breakout Events.
In a world where safety matters, you deserve protection you can trust. CIRA regulates South Africa's private security industry, ensuring only trained and qualified providers serve the public. From bodyguards and assets in transit to electronic security, investigations, event safety, locksmiths, and guarding. Every service must meet the highest standards. CIRA, protecting you and those who protect you.
Lyft is turning 5 and we're celebrating with South Africa. Back in 2020, the public chose our name, and now 5 years later, Lyft is inviting you to design a tale of a real Airbus A320. That's right, your design could take to the skies on one of our aircraft. And the best part? The winning designer gets flights for a whole year. Don't miss your chance to leave your mark on South African skies. Visit lyft.co.za to enter today. T's and C's apply.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
AfriForum's been able to force Eskom and NERSA to not yet implement what was going to be another significant increase as a result of a previous mistake by NERSA.
This is a matter that involves the public, and they can't do any price determination without going through a public participation process. In this case, they agreed outside of the court without the public getting involved. That's why AfriForum managed to stop them from implementing this decision.
Professor Samson Mampwedi.
The Money Show.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA Corporate and Investment Banking, proud sponsor of the ABSA Africa Financial Markets Index 2025. The insights to guide you through Africa's financial landscapes are waiting for you. ABSA is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 21 minutes past 4. Well, as we get into new matters in our criminal justice system, there are some old ones that seem to go on and on. Did I mention? And on in the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria. Arguments heard today from advocates representing various parties, the State Attorney, the Presidency, the Democratic Alliance, and former President Jacob Zuma. At issue is 28.9 million rand that the Supreme Court of Appeal in 2021 ruled that former President Zuma was not entitled to that money to fund his corruption trial. That, of course, is public money. And then in January of last year, the State Attorney and the Presidency launched litigation to try and get that money back. However, the judge has had some questions to ask today about the fairness, it would seem to be, involved in this matter. Let's get into it and welcome once again to 702 Drive, Karen Morn, News 24 legal journalist. Karen, good afternoon to you. As I understand it, Judge Anthony Miller was somewhat pushing back. I don't know if this is the kind of thing judges do and ask the difficult questions. I'm certain it's part of their job, but he was questioning whether it would be fair and reasonable to attach the former president's pension to try and get some of this money back. What exactly was the judge saying? Good afternoon.
I think his primary point was that if Zuma's pension was attached into its entirety, I think it's about 3 million rand a year. His question was, how is Mr. Zuma going to live? He is elderly. He is in his 80s. And this, of course, was in response to the DA's counter application in this case, because the DA was one of the original parties alongside the EFF that launched this application in 2019, shortly after Zuma was forced to step down from by the ANC as president, to essentially have his state funding of his legal fees in that corruption trial, which had effectively enabled this luxurious Stalingrad spending that he is so well known for.
Yes.
But they said that must be declared unlawful, and the court also that the money must be recovered. Then in 2021, the SA said absolutely, and it also endorsed a ruling that the money must be recovered. And this case now in 2024 is a consequence of that. And the DA also bringing an application saying, we don't trust the state attorney. Look at the fact that this judgment came out in 2021. We want a supervisory order, and we also want an order that will compel the state attorney to attach Jacob Zuma's assets, including his presidential pension, if he fails to meet this debt, which is 28.9 million rand. And of course, as he does often in these kind of scenarios, the president has again pushed back at this application and re-raised the exact same defenses he unsuccessfully raised in the High Court and the SCA in a bid to avoid the scenario where such a cost order or such an order is made against him.
So in the course of the conversation where the judge is saying, look, if you attach his pension as a man in his 80s, you leave him extremely vulnerable. Has there been any conversation or evidence put before the court suggesting or disputing whether the former president has any other assets that could either be make-weights in meeting this obligation or could be put forward as alternatives?
Well, I mean, the amount involved is a huge amount. This is, I think, from about 2005, which was when the original deal was done. That was, of course, with the President Thabo Mbeki's administration, to 2018, which is when the funds were cut. There was a huge amount of litigation pursued by the former president, which essentially was designed to sort of block every aspect of the case against him. Unsuccessfully, none of those applications, except one for a postponement, against a postponement, actually succeeded. And the issue is this: he has said before that he would have to sell, I think, his shoes and socks to afford his legal fees in the corruption trial.
Yes.
But he has actually not presented any evidence that shows I'm destitute, I won't be able to meet this obligation. It's just been a general argument advanced by his lawyers. But they have really fixated their attack, John, on saying Jacob Zuma is a victim of the unconstitutional advice that was given to the president, then Thabo Mbeki, which said it was lawful for the state to fund his legal fees. And he is a victim of this unconstitutional advice, and he should not be the person to suffer for it. In fact, his lawyer, Tabani Masuku, arguing in court today that the state lawyers that gave this advice should be forced to pay this debt. And of course, the lawyers for the president and the DA pointing out that no such application had ever been made, and that essentially this money was spent for his benefit. It was for his defense of his corruption case, and the lawyers who gave that advice could not be held responsible for it.
Thank you so much. Karen Moore, News 24 legal journalist. Maybe you've got a view on that as well. Do share your thoughts on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Should as much of the money as possible that was spent on former President Jacob Zuma's legal fees be recovered? Do you share the judge's view that you can't attach the entire pension of an elderly person, no matter the merits of the arguments? Interesting stuff going on in the court, and your view, as always, would be interesting. It's 27 minutes past 4. Now, I did ask for your view on what SAFA President Danny Jordan is saying, the matter of the failure to properly manage the disciplinary issues around Bafana that could have cost us a place at next year's World Cup is behind them. They're not looking into it. They're not going to do any digging, and it doesn't matter. Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie is saying not so fast. The tricky thing, of course, well, I'll tell you what the tricky thing is in a moment, because I must give credit to the listener who alerted me to it. But let's hear from a couple of you.
Pleasant afternoon, Dr. John and 702 lenders. I fully agree with you. This matter cannot just be left hanging just because we've now qualified and it's all in the past. No. In fact, in my view, much as I see all other stakeholders or role players involved, I think the player in question must have a lot to answer for, because you know it. You know that you are on 3 cards. You know it. Right? And my submission is there was greed here. The player was just looking for the money, appearance fees, and all of that. But the matter cannot be left unattended. Thanks for a great show. Tsepo in Boksburg.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of different views. And just to give you one short one, I'll get into a detailed one from Len that looks at some of the issues. But Nkosana says, I wish I didn't hear the SAFA president saying this. It's very annoying indeed. This man must go now. So Nkosana I wish you hadn't even mentioned all of this, but hey, it's out there and we're expecting the minister to issue a statement. That's what he said he's going to be doing. We'll keep an eye out for it. 28 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, up and up on most things or mixed?
Indeed. Good afternoon to you, John. I'm very much with Skosana, by the way. So a lot of corporate news today, but all of that being overshadowed by, obviously, the gold price. Yesterday, $4,200. Today, $4,260. In August last year, gold passed $2,500 for the first time. As you know, I'm completely out of adjectives on this, but I mean, it might well double in about kind of 15 months or so. It is really an astonishing time. That's helped the JSE to go up 0.2% at 112,407 points. Financials up 0.1%. Industrials down 0.2%. And resources up, as you would expect, 3.26% on the day. By the way, platinum up by 3% as well on the day, and that's having a big impact too. So, as you would expect, Goldfields, Pan African Resources, Sibanye, Harmony, Northern, Anglo Gold, Volterra, all of the miners up very strongly. Goldfields leading the pack at 5.27%. The Premier Group announcing it's making an offer for the frozen meals company RFG. RFG's shareholders will get 1 share in Premier for 7 shares in RFG. Eventually, RFG's shareholders would own 22.5% of the combined group. So they both work in food, John, but they don't compete in any market. They're completely separate operationally, and this will basically allow them to sort of merge. PSG Financial Services reporting its recurring headline earnings per share up by 21%. Dividend per share is up 18%. Assets under management increased by 19%. They now have over R500 billion in assets under management. And DRD Gold reporting off the back of a strong gold price. In the quarter to the end of September, it was able to increase production by 2%. The amount of gold sold is up by 1%. And Cashbuild saying their revenue for the first quarter is up by 6%. Advitech down 3.77%. Sappi down 3% on the day. Just to mention, I wouldn't normally mention an international company straight off, John, but Nestle have confirmed they're cutting 16,000 jobs.
Goodness.
Now, one of the reasons is sort of US tariffs, because that's just making trade difficult more generally, although they produce most of the stuff they sell in America. But it is also because, and I blame you entirely for this, people are eating less chocolate.
Oh, wow. What's that got to do with me?
I don't know. Are you eating less chocolate?
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Bit less. bit less.
I know plenty of people who are not eating less chocolate, and 3 of them live with me. So yes, people basically are trying to live more healthily, and what the people in the weight loss pills gain, Nestle seems to be losing. They've also had a massive amount of managerial turmoil, which is very un-Swiss. The Dow Jones is flat at the moment. Wall Street, by the way, did open higher. There was an upbeat quarterly update from TSMC, so we're back to the sort of AI roundabout. So the Dow Jones is flat. The Nasdaq is up 0.5%. The S&P 500 is up 0.27. A reminder, the U.S. federal government still closed for business. The gold price, $4,260.65 an ounce. Platinum, $1,727.60. Brent crude, $61.94. The rand to the dollar, 17.31 to the euro, 20.20 to the British pound, 23.24. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. 28 minutes to 5. Let's get the very latest eyewitness news. More campus turmoil, this time down in Cape Town, and Bali has the details.
Thanks, John. A very good afternoon. We'll begin here in Gauteng for now, where the Gauteng Environmental Department has raised concerns over the air monitoring controls in the province, with only 15 of its 13 stations functional. Air monitoring stations are used to measure the levels of pollutants in the atmosphere, like nitrogen as well as carbon monoxide. The department held a media briefing in Johannesburg today, talking about its efforts to improve Gauteng's air quality. Thabiso Koba reports.
Gauteng is the smallest province in the country by land size. However, it has the highest number of people living in it, making it densely populated. It is also the country's economic and industrial hub. Environment MEC Iwan Botha says these factors make it critical to measure the levels of air quality in the province.
This is such a difficult one because it's one that really touches us all as a community. And when you start to smell those chemicals burning and you start to get that burning sensation in your nose and in your lungs, and you can feel that your health is starting to deteriorate, you really want to know what is happening with it.
Air quality monitoring stations are owned and managed by municipalities. However, the Gauteng government says it will soon be rolling out 124 low-cost air quality centers across the province to improve monitoring and access to real-time data. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Action SA has won its first ever by-election 5 years after the party was formed. The party now has a seat in the Ramotseri-Muilwa local municipality in the northwest after it beat the ANC by just 2 votes. Moses Muumakwa is the new Ward 7 councillor, replacing the ANC's councillor who vacated the seat after being fired by his party for ill discipline. Ramotseri is an ANC stronghold, with the party having won all of its 19 wards since 2006. Earlier this year, Action SA merged with the Forum for Service Delivery, which has a strong support base in some northwest municipalities. Action SA National Chairperson Michael Beaumont says the latest round of by-election results have been encouraging for the party's growth.
The results of last night's by-elections demonstrate that Action SA is one of the few parties in South Africa growing at the expense of the ANC at a time in which we need to rescue a broken local government system.
Grade 12 learners in Gauteng are expected to commit to taking on the final matric exams with honesty, integrity and accountability. They will take part in a signing ceremony for the official National Senior Certificate exams tomorrow. More than 700,000 learners are expected to sit for this year's final exams. Gauteng Education spokesperson Steve Mabona.
The pledge reinforces the importance of ethical behavior, the fairness in the conduct of the examinations, while fostering a sense of responsibility and pride among learners in the exam centers.
And Cambodia says it will deport 59 South Koreans who worked in cyber scam schemes. South Korea sent a team to the country yesterday to discuss cases of fake jobs and scam centers involved in kidnapping dozens of its nationals. Cambodian authorities say the 59 people have been rescued or detained for other crimes in the country and will be deported tomorrow. South Korea says about 1,000 of its nationals are estimated to be working in Cambodian scam operations targeting victims in the country. A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of 14 degrees across the province and highs of between 26 and 28.
Eldorado Park, there's an accident seen on the N12 westbound. This is before the Klipspruit Valley off-ramp, and this is causing heavy delays all the way from the Golden Highway. There's also slow-moving traffic in the Bryanston area, Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Main Road. And we still have that stationary truck in Bedfordview, N3 South near Van Buren, causing about a 30-minute delay from Modderfontein Road.
The top story in EWN, the Gauteng Environmental Department has raised concerns over the air monitoring controls in the province, with only 15 of its 31 stations functional.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
All of the different faiths have their various days, even though they're not necessarily public holidays. Are there any faiths that we aren't paying attention to or showing much love to?
Of course, no doubt, no doubt. In fact, the scales are really not balanced when you look at how privileged Christianity is. It's a fact that Christianity is more privileged, but that goes with the history. And so the other faiths also may need to be putting a bit more pressure on their visibility and asking for their share of recognition from society.
Professor Smangaliso R. Kumalo, Dean of the School of Religion, Philosophy and Classics at the University of KwaZulu-Natal.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Study your law degree at Regenesis Law School in Sandton or online and build a successful future with leading multinational corporations, or launch your own legal practice. A Regenesis Law degree is profoundly transformational, shaping intellectually sharp, fearless warriors of justice and purpose-driven lawyers. Regenesis is Africa's fastest-growing education institution, with 1,000 multinational clients across 12 countries and a faculty of 100 industry experts. Enroll now for your law degree at Regenesis Law School at law.regenesis.net.
You can become a victim of a legal problem, wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Introducing South Africa's most affordable way to get hearing aids. At Specsavers Audiology, you can now get a pair of hearing aids from as little as 599 Rand per month. Hearing clearly shouldn't be a luxury. Enjoy life's moments from 599 Rand per month. Test your hearing today and join the conversation with Specsavers Audiology. T's and C's apply. 702 and corporates that care with Investec are talking about Investec's flagship education initiative, ProMaths, in partnership with Kutlwanong Maths, Science and Technology Center.
Started 20 years ago in Dobsonville on a pilot program with 105 pupils. Fast forward to 2025, 28,000 learners have been through the program, and we believe that the impact that this has had has been something beyond numbers, something beyond science. It's about people, purpose, and hope. And I think the ability to partner with Kutlwanong to look at how you could build something that could be replicated. So starting with one school in Dobson 20 years ago, now having 19 of these centers operating across South Africa, 10 which are sponsored by Investec and 9 by other sponsors.
Visit mywalk.org.za to learn more. Investec, out of the ordinary. On 702, let's walk the talk.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hey John, I'm actually so infuriated by Danny Jordan's utterances. This is why South Africa is in the position it's in, because as citizens, we just accept terrible leadership. This guy is been charged with corruption. He goes on to every platform, still makes statements irrespective of the cloud that he lives under. That man has been terrible. He's overstayed his welcome in South African soccer, and he must just leave and actually just go to jail. But for him to say we must look ahead, if you don't address this now, believe me, at the Soccer World Cup, they'll still feel defaulters. So why must we leave it? The guy must actually just step aside, get to jail, and we must get somebody capable to carry our soccer to the next level. Thanks.
Yeah, Dade John. My place of work, right? Our email system, you cannot recall certain emails from Gmail email addresses. So they usually come back as failed, and you have to literally resend the email again. So if ever you did a mistake, you can't recall and resend. You can only resend the email that you initially planned to send. Hi.
Yeah, that sounds pretty hazardous. Look, on the issue of Danny Jordan, I mean, I know there's a lot of feeling involved here, but this thing of he must go straight to jail, there is a court case, and the court case is underway. And as far as I understand it, the evidence, I don't know if evidence has been led at all, but certainly we haven't got into the meat of the case. So you do go straight to jail in Monopoly. But in real life, if you want to say he must go straight to court, well, he's in court. So I think that's been achieved. But your broader point that people get frustrated is echoed by Len, who says accountability is a myth in this country. It's like expecting the sun to rise from the west. What shields SAFA in this case is that as much as Minister Gayton McKenzie says heads will roll, not quite what he said, but he said it would be opened. But let's get back to Len's point. He's not allowed to interfere with SAFA matters. That will only spell trouble because FIFA will ban SAFA and Bafana will not make the Americas in 2026. FIFA, Len says, does not allow governments to meddle in association matters. Plus, the team manager gestured keep quiet after the game on Tuesday. So the watchmen of football in this country are watching themselves. Let's just do like we always do as South Africans and say, oh, well, yeah, we do a lot of that, but we also do a lot of other things, which I think reflect a much more robust and vigorous national attitude to the problems we have. And that's, I like to think, what makes 702 flourish, because you guys call in, send us messages and WhatsApp voice notes and express your views other than, oh, well, which is exactly what you've just done, Len. And thank you for that. It's 16 minutes to 5.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kelly, a very good afternoon to you. The latest from the world of sport. But before you do that, actually, I meant to ask you this the last time round. Of all the wonderful sports things you've witnessed, where does Tuesday night at Mbombela rank? It must have been fun.
John, there was a moment after the game when everybody was on the pitch, and there were around 5 journos that I'd worked alongside for the past roughly 7 years.
Okay.
They include Mahlatsi Mpahlele from Times Live and Jabulo Ngidi, who's now at News 24. And there was a point where we were just all standing and watching the team. And there was a time when Molefi Ntseki was head coach, and we had gone to Orlando Stadium on a Sunday for a qualifier, and there were like 10 fans and like 20 journalists, and we just sat and we're like, from that moment until now, it kind of justified why we still show up for Bafana Bafana, because I think in as much as it is a sports story and we are sports journalists, we're also fans of this national team. So we sat in that moment and kind of took it in to say, hey, we worked hard. We also deserve to go to America.
Fabulous. Well, let's make that happen. Let's start working on it now. In the meanwhile, tell us what's happening.
Well, John Nonkululeko Mlaba says the Proteas women are targeting improvement as they return to World Cup action against Sri Lanka tomorrow. South Africa have now won 3 consecutive matches in a row as they bounce back impressively from the embarrassing 10-wicket loss to England in their first match.
Each and every team is very hard to play against. We played against Sri Lanka in the tri-series and also played against them at home, and they beat us in a few games, and yeah, they definitely have a good team. Their spinners, they're very good, and Atapatu herself, she's also gone for the team. So as a team, we don't undermine any team. We just play our own game and try our best to win the game.
On the pitch, Australia are chasing 199 for victory against Bangladesh, and the latest from their innings sees them on 157 without any loss. That's in the 22nd over. They now need just 42 more runs for victory. Batting is Litchfield on 63 alongside Healy on 89. Switching to football, where Gavin Hunt expects the PSL to improve all round as players look to raise their hands for Bafana Bafana selection ahead of next year's World Cup. South Africa ended their 24-year qualification drought on Tuesday to seal a ticket to the 2026 event, and they'll find out their group opponents on the 5th of December.
There's 7-8 months. I think anything can happen with our players. They have a good performance until now, till the end of the year. I think anybody can maybe get in the back door and make the team. I think you've just seen the last couple of squads that they've picked. I think there's been some players called up, out of the blue, and I think the opportunity can be there for certainly our players. There's a few players, that could maybe get in the back door. You never know.
And Cecilia Molokwane has resumed office as Netball South Africa president, having been suspended from the role amid serious allegations of misconduct. She faced accusations of unfair treatment and suspension without due process, which raised concerns about the fairness and transparency of her leadership. Molokwane is now back after claiming she was a victim of a smear campaign that was backed by SASCOC, World Netball and some NSA members.
I'm resuming office with immediate effect. I stood back because I wanted kids to play netball. I didn't want anybody to be suspended. I'm resuming office. I'm going back to my office. I'm no longer a member of World Netball. They don't have power over me. I'm an elected president of Netball South Africa. Of African Netball. So I've just resumed office now.
Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
13 minutes to 5 on 702 Drive. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Cars.coza. Let's find what moves you. Still problems out in Bedford View. Here's Karabo Chale with that update and some others.
Yes, John, there's a stationary truck that's on the N3 southbound near Van Buren, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from Modderfontein Road. As a result, there's also about a 20-minute delay that's coming from Edenville R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange and Calvin Alexandra area. Roadworks slowing down traffic. N3 southbound between the Between interchange and London Road. In Illiondale, Kempton Park, we still have bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on Modderfontein Road between Greenstone Mall and Parkland Drive. In four ways, traffic sluggish on the N1 South between Rivonia Road and Malibongo Drive. Bryanston, also slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Main Road. And in Eldorado Park, there's an accident scene on the N12 westbound. This is before Klipspruit Valley, causing huge delays all the way from the Golden Highway. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Hey, Jim, what's wrong? Hi, Bob. I'm just so confused. I'm trying to buy a car, and I don't know where to stop. Well, have you tried to...
Cars.coza.
have you tried to... Sorry, we're trying to do an advert.
Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to Cars.coza and let's find what moves you. Cars.coza. Celebrate the legend and score like a rock star. It's time to win big with Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, and 702.
He's the boss, he is the legend, the man whose music defined generations. Now his story comes alive on the big screen with Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, in cinemas from 24 October. Right now, 702 is giving you the chance to win big. We're celebrating this musical icon with what we call two truths and a lie. 3 facts about Bruce, one's not quite true. Don't know why we call it a fact, but you get the picture. WhatsApp the keyword Springsteen ZA to 072 702 1702 and we could be calling you to play. Spot the lie and you could win 2,000 Rand in cash, exclusive pre-screening tickets, and a chance to score a collector's vinyl package that every fan of any kind of music, never mind the boss, will envy over and over again. Only on 702. Now, the movie's called Deliver Me From Nowhere, a powerful cinematic journey into Bruce Springsteen's raw and emotional search for authenticity, connection, and meaning. It's inspired by the 1982 creation of his iconic album Nebraska, and the film dives deep into the man behind the music. Not just the music, but his struggles, his soul, and the sound that defined generations. Only in cinemas from 24 October. So, Let's play Two Truths and a Lie. Let's give someone a chance to go to the premiere of this film, pre-screening, I should call it, rather than a premiere, and to win some other prizes as well. Chris is on the line from Linden. Chris, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Favorite Springsteen song, please?
Definitely Glory Days.
Glory Days. Okay. So I'm going to give you I'm going to give you 3 facts. One of them is simply not true. In other words, it's a lie. If you can pick out the lie and wait till I've given you all 3, then you got some cool prizes on the way. So,
Good.
Number 1, Bruce Springsteen has performed for a U.S. president. Number 2, he's been in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since 1999. And number 3, he's never played a guitar.
Last one's false. Number 3 is false.
You sure? Of course
Sure.
you. Of course you sure. Of course you sure. So I've got some good news for you, Chris. You're going to be joining us at the pre-screening and an opportunity to bring someone special along. It's going to be a glory day and something we're all going to really enjoy together. Look forward to meeting you there. We're going to give you 2,000 Rand as well. And we're going to put you in the draw, Chris, for a collector's package of Bruce Springsteen vinyls. And you'll hear
That's
on
fantastic.
Friday whether you're the winner of that. So, Chris, thanks for joining in. And thanks for your interest in what's going to be a great movie and an absolutely fabulous evening at the Flicks, which we're going to do next Wednesday. But our producers will be in touch and set you up with all of that. Now, the movie, as I've been telling you for quite a while now, yes, it's about the music, in particular the creation of his album Nebraska, which was a departure in style in all sorts of ways. But the film is also very much about Bruce Springsteen and his life. And in his autobiography, which I cannot recommend highly enough, called Born to Run, no surprises there. And if you can, enjoy it as an audiobook because Bruce Springsteen himself reads it. But in that book, as well as dealing with music and his career, which had some really tough moments, he talks about his battle with depression and the relationship between the two. And after the book, he ended up speaking about that quite a lot on various platforms. This is from an interview he gave on the public radio station in the United States, PBS. Take a listen.
I wrote, the premise of the book was to give my audience an insight into how I created and what's the fuel for the fire. And so that was, I think that always felt like a big part of it. Even when I didn't recognize it in my 20s, it was always there, stoking the flames of my own creativity. I realized the only time I felt complete and peaceful was while I was playing or shortly afterwards. So it was the first way that I medicated myself. So I always went back to it. You know, the root of that determination came out of a hunger to find a safe and peaceful place, even though it was in front of thousands of other people, which most people wouldn't consider to be a safe place.
No,
For
they
me-
wouldn't. So why is that a safe place?
For me, it's always been. I walk on stage, I play, I perform, I create, I write, and that's where sort of that peace comes over me.
Yeah, and that's going to be, I'm sure, a strong thread in a movie. I can't wait to see Bruce Springsteen in that, by the way, played by Jeremy Allen White. If you've seen The Bear, Jeremy Allen White played the part of Carmen. And if you saw Succession, his manager, Bruce Springsteen's manager, John Landau, is played by Jeremy Strong, who played Kendall Roy. Of course, there are other people in the cast. It's a stellar gathering of movie talent. There are other people there who aren't called Jeremy. We'll talk about the movie a little bit more. It's 5 minutes to 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, it's that time of the week where we do what we call Your House, Your Home. We look at various issues around the place where you live. Some of it is to do with legals, some of it's to do with money, and some of it is to do with, in today's instance, how you prevent birds from nesting in your roof. I love waking up, particularly in summer, to the sound of birds chirping. If they were in my roof, I would be less happy. So how do you deal with this? Gabriel Tobias is manager at an entity called the Shield Service Group. They specialize in this, and he's got some advice for us. Gabriel, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. Why do birds head into people's roofs? I mean, there are a lot of trees around.
Hi, John. Thanks so much for having me on the show, and hello to all your listeners.
So there are a few reasons that we're seeing. We've definitely seen an influx in inquiries and calls coming through, people having issues with pigeons, specifically pigeons.
Right.
And that's generally due to, solar panels going up, so pigeons have a new place to nest and harbor. There are a few things you can do to sort out, a pigeon problem. And I mean, it starts with definitely going around your property and just having a look around, seeing if there are any gaps or entry points that can be sealed off. And that can be as easy as taking an expandable foam or blocking it off with some mesh, some decent mesh wire. We use an industrial grade galvanized mesh so it doesn't rust. So definitely you want to go around the house, have a look around, close off any entry points. If you've got solar panels and there are, nesting under solar panels, so you want to also block off the solar panels, just make sure not to drill into the, around the solar panels, into the frame of the solar panel, because that will end up voiding a warranty. So you just want to basically seal off any entry points. I mean, that's the key to it. And then
Yeah. So you sent us some notes, bird alerts. How do they work? And I mean, you don't alarm the occupants of the house. How loud are they?
So we generally, I mean, the bird alerts, they are quite loud. We don't use it often. Our most used method is actually the industrial grade mesh wire and bird sparks. So we also use a bird gel. It's a beeswax, beeswax, and that can be applied to surfaces, and that also repels the pigeons. But yeah, the bird alert, that we don't
resort
use it that much of. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gabriel Tobias, manager at Shield Service Group. You got a problem with pigeons in your roof? I suppose it's a problem that can affect a lot of people. And Gabriel was just saying this appears to be an increasing problem, certainly in the Gauteng area. Story to tell? Well, you know where to get us. 072-702-1702.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
The search for a missing plane in KwaZulu-Natal has come to a tragic end, with the Provincial Transport Department confirming this morning that it crashed. It was one of two light aircrafts reported missing in the Midlands yesterday. The first one was found by search teams in the afternoon, while the second aircraft was discovered this morning. Both pilots, who are believed to have been flying solo, have been killed.
Unfortunately, the pilot suffered fatal injuries. The search and rescue team has now moved into the second phase of their operation.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Josie is about to bring the heat. The Discovery Vitality Chicken Run, flavored by Nando's, is happening Saturday, 8 November at 5 p.m. Go 5K or 10K, run, walk, or just soak up that Josie summer air. Not tough enough? Come on, if you've ever sprinted for a taxi, dodged potholes, or climbed stairs when the power was out, your training has already begun. Grab your crew, lace up, and move Josie forward. Find the Discovery Vitality Chicken Run on racepass.com to enter. The Discovery Vitality Chicken Run, flavored by Nando's. It's a run for everyone.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 in brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
In a world shaped by those who build, disrupt, and reimagine, there comes a gathering not just of minds, but of futures. The South African Future Trust Summit, in partnership with Standard Bank, is where top entrepreneurs, innovators, and change makers converge. It's where the future of enterprise is redefined. On 5 and 6 November, you could be there. stand a chance to win tickets to the South African Future Trust Summit on 702. WhatsApp the keyword SAFT with your name and ID number, telling us how you would benefit from attending the summit to 072-702-1702. Then catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa to find out if you're a winner. The South African Future Trust Summit in partnership with Standard Bank. Your summit, your way on 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com. This is EWN.
Cabinet raises the alarm over theft of essential medicines, and an agreement has been reached between UFS as well as student representatives. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Cabinet has raised the alarm over what appears to be a new syndicate stealing essential medication from public healthcare facilities. The matter came to light earlier this week when boxes of antiretroviral drugs were found at the scene of a fatal bus crash in Limpopo. The bus was travelling from the Eastern Cape to Zimbabwe when it veered off the road, claiming the lives of dozens of passengers. Briefing the media following a cabinet meeting today, Minister in the Presidency Khumbudzo Ntshavheni said Cabinet is concerned about the illicit smuggling of medication. Alpha Ramashwan has more.
The South African Health Products Regulatory Authority mandates that anyone transporting large quantities of medication must hold a valid license. Similarly, the Medicines and Related Substances Act prohibits the movement of substantial amounts of pharmaceuticals without proper authorization. Minister in the Presidency Khumbudzo Ntshavheni says government is urgently investigating the apparent smuggling of medication to Zimbabwe.
The theft of prescription medicine, in particular ARVs, also undermines the fight against an HIV-free region, because people who are using those medications, because they are not continuous, they are going to develop resistance, and thus creating a problem for the fight against ARV.
Ntshavheni has also called on foreign nationals to be respectful and well-mannered following what appears to be the theft of medication from public healthcare facilities. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Let's move to Parliament now, where Police Minister Senzo Mchunu has defended his decisions in relation to the Political Killings Task Team. Mchunu says the task team simply mirrors the work of other specialised units in the country. Mchunu is currently before Parliament's ad hoc committee probing allegations of corruption in the criminal justice system. He believes the task team should be absorbed into the murder and robbery unit. His sentiments come after National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola cited plans to establish a political killings task team in Gauteng.
If you establish a political killings task team in Gauteng, it means you are putting them over and above organized crime unit, over and above serious and violent crimes unit.
Mchunu says the formation of a PKTT in Gauteng will create a bigger problem within the SAPS.
So what you are going to do with your funding, you are going to pull people into the political killings task team, and those who remain in these two units, they are not going to do anything.
Let's stay in Parliament, where Electricity Minister Hosian Ramokgopa says double-digit electricity tariffs must end. He says the unaffordability of electricity is jeopardizing the country's socio-economic indicators. Ramokgopa has pledged to Parliament to deliver a new electricity pricing policy review by the first quarter of next year, which will recommend ways to make the utility more affordable. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Answering questions in the National Council of Provinces today, the Electricity Minister says he's read Eskom the Riot Act on annual price increases.
I really want to get into the domain of price increases that are benchmarked relative to inflation. I've made the point publicly, I've shared with Eskom that the era of double-digit price increases is over.
The DA's Dennis Ryder, however, argued the national energy regulator NERSA is being bullied by Eskom and acting like an enabler rather than an overseer. But Ramokgopa says the new electricity pricing review will help to mitigate the cost of soaring tariffs and also suggest ways to increase free basic electricity without burdening the fiscus.
Confidence level are going to increase on us making projections on price increases going into the future.
Ramokgopa says municipalities are also not using subsidies meant to support the indigent for the purpose it is intended. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
We shift our focus to this now. The Free State University has reached an agreement with student representatives that a new policy which will only be implemented in 2 years' time. The policy stipulates that students who owe the institution will no longer be allowed to provisionally register. Today's resolution means that next year, students with debt can still be absorbed onto the system. Students rejected the policy announcement last week, which was to be immediately implemented, and staged a protest action at the Qwaqwa campus. Jabuli Lembata has more.
The university and student representatives have concluded that only after 2 years can the management implement its policy that stipulates that students with outstanding debt cannot be provisionally registered. Starting today, staff at the Bloemfontein and South campus are returning to campus. However, the Qwaqwa campus remains closed as investigations into the damage of property and arson case continue. University of Free State spokesperson Leisha Loader.
Academic staff will return to the campus in a phased approach and also applied as per the program demands. The deans of our faculties will manage this process and is also in communication with our students and also with staff.
Students continue with online learning. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News.
And Uruguay has legalized euthanasia. 20 out of 31 legislators voted in favor of passing the law, approved by the lower chamber of representatives in August. It comes after 10 hours of debate on an issue several lawmakers described as the most difficult to make. The country is one of the first countries in that region and amongst dozens worldwide to allow assisted dying. Gold is trading at $4,225.57 an ounce. The rand is at 17.33 to the dollar, 23.29 to the pound, 20.20 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $61.91 a barrel.
Bedfordview stationary truck on the N3 southbound near Van Buren causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from London Road. As a result, also coming from Edenvale heading into Bedfordview, traffic is also heavily backed up on the R24 westbound. This is between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. And in Eldorado Park, we still have that accident scene, N12 West, before Klipspruit Valley, causing huge delays from the N1.
In your sport, SANZA confirmed that the Rugby Championship won't be played in 2026. SAFA announced Desiree Ellis has signed a 4-year contract extension to stay on as Banyana coach. And Donald Trump threatens to remove World Cup games from Boston and Los Angeles.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Joburg dropping to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 14 and 27, and Vereeniging 14 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: Cabinet has raised the alarm over what appears to be a new syndicate stealing essential medication from public healthcare facilities.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 9 minutes past 5. You know, after the 4 o'clock news, I was just commenting on that clash at the University of the Free State. The issue, as you heard a moment ago there from Mbali Dlamini, was the university wanting to say that students who owed money should not be eligible for provisional registration for the next academic year. And I was asking the question as to why these issues so often lead to severe clashes before we get resolution. But I must admit I've had another thought, and I'd love to get your view on this, because to some degree I'm thinking aloud here, suggesting that I haven't quite figured it out. I get that if students have debt but are working on trying to settle that debt, they should not necessarily be prevented from provisional registration. But I equally am wondering, is there not another kind of unfairness that might be at play? So if I've got that debt, I'm holding a place via a provisional registration, I'm making no effort to deal with the debt that I find myself in. I'm keeping a place, let's just say I'm going into third year engineering or whatever it might be, I'm keeping a place that could go to somebody else who wants to get an opportunity there. And I know that this would be more pertinent if we were talking about first year, but there are people returning looking for university places, I would think, throughout the timeline of an academic career. So wouldn't the sweet spot, rather than saying, okay, well, we're just going to suspend the whole thing for 2 years, which is perhaps the sort of resolution you get when you forge a compromise in situations of conflict, wouldn't you want to say that we will keep your place provisionally, but there needs to be, and they could benchmark this in various ways, indication of a serious intention to resolve the debt problem? Because I get that paying these fees is difficult, but I also think we need to acknowledge that universities cannot carry that amount of debt themselves indefinitely and abundantly in a climate where government is constantly cutting back on government spending. So how do we resolve that? Recognize they've got a holding action for 2 years, but I would suggest they need to spend those 2 years wrestling with at least some of the problems that I've raised. Your views, please, on 011-883-0702. Maybe you've worked in university administration environments and you've got some inner track, which I don't have. Call me on that on 011-883-0702 and 072-702-1702. Speaking of money, the National Gambling Board has released its 2024-25 annual report. They were in Parliament yesterday presenting to the Trade, Industry and Competition Committee some of their key findings. We're going to be engaging with acting CEO of the NGB, the National Gambling Board. Lungile Dukwana is our guest in a few moments' time. Getting lots of interesting WhatsApp voice notes from you, some of you commenting on the SAFA situation and some other issues besides. Let's take a listen to that before we go to the traffic.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Hi, Prachon. I agree 100% with the listener who just said a very important thing about Tenny Jordan. You know, I don't know, what does it take to remove that man from SAFA? That man, he's a problem there. He's no more needed there. He's doing nothing. He has been there in 2010 and all that. Yes, fine, he has achieved that. But now I think it's time for him to go. I just pray that he is found guilty and sent to prison so as we can get someone. You see, I'm still a very big fan of Tsiklas. I think she's the best person to lead SAFA to the better pastures than what is happening right now. So I agree 100% with the listener. We don't need people like Tenny Jordan. Someone did a very big mistake that kept the country on their toes. But to him, he says, we just have to forget about it. The past is the past. Because he's corrupt. No, he's always go with the wrong people. So we don't need him. I don't know what can we do, or should we march or what, but you don't need him anymore at SAFA. He has played his part, but he must go now.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of points that you make there that I do want to a little bit take issue with. I mean, the first point is that the man is in court. There has been no finding. There's barely been evidence led, and no conviction has been secured. So, I get that there's agitation around these issues, but I also think that respect for the courts is a crucial part of any of these conversations. But I think to your second point, or the second point I want to make in regard to all your points, is perhaps the more important one. It's all very well to say that, okay, he's done all these things and therefore he must go. And then you propose that somebody from within the ranks of the SAFA leadership should replace him. Well, it's a question we ask of political parties. You can stand up and say, well, this person was a bad leader or whatever. Well, it begs the question that what were you doing when they were doing the things that you now declare to be wrong? Now, I'm not saying that anyone in SAFA has actually come out and said that kind of thing, but questions I think need to be asked about organizations. We are not a monarchy. And we do not have monarchistic structures. You have strong men and women running various organizations. But invariably, if an organization is not doing what it should and doing things it shouldn't, you've got to ask questions of more than just one person. That would be my view. So I think if you focus the spotlight on SAFA, I would suggest it needs to have a very wide lens and shine into more than just one corner. Your views, though, on 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702, 5:15.
EWN Traffic.
Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. If you're heading out to El Dorado Park after a busy day in some other part of Gauteng, it could be slow. Karabo Chale has the details.
Yes, John, Eldos, there's an accident scene on the N12 westbound. That's before Klipspruit Valley, causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from the N1. Try to avoid that route at all costs. Rather use the R554. That's if you're getting off the Golden Highway, and use the Nirvana R554 drive. There's also slow-moving traffic. That's in the Bedfordview area. This is due to a stationary truck N3 South near Van Buren, and this is causing about a 30-minute delay from Modderfontein Road. As a result, you can also expect about a 20-minute delay. That's coming in from Edenvale on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. Heading towards four ways, traffic remains sluggish. N1 South between Rivonia Road and Malibongo Drive, while in Bryanston we still have slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Main Road. Windsor West, that's in the Randburg area, traffic pressure on Beyers Naudé between Judges and the N1. And finally, in the city of Tshwane, Waterkloof, heading towards Centurion, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N1 northbound. That's between the R21 Flying Saucer interchange and Linwood Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 97. You misplaced your keys in the freezer and had to defrost them. That one's a bit of a stretch, but fortunately with the Outsurance Pointsmen on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The Outsurance Pointsmen easing traffic, congestion, and getting you there quickly and safely since 2005. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using #PointsmenLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Many would argue that it is the story of two cities, that the affluent areas are experiencing one kind of service, whereas the impoverished areas are receiving a different kind of service. What is your response to that?
The story of two cities is the story of Cape Town and Johannesburg. Those are the two cities that we need to compare. So of course, there are still challenges. There will be for a long time. But despite those, we are moving forward in the right direction.
Jordan Hill-Lewis.
The Midday Report
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Let's rewind 6 years, when Twitter was still Twitter, not a letter of the alphabet. TikTok was simply the sound your clock made. And Zoom just meant enlarging a picture. So it makes you wonder, what will the next 6 years bring? Ohino trucks now come standard with a 6-year drivetrain warranty, covering everything from pistons to gears. So although a lot can change in 6 years, our warranty promise won't. T's and C's apply. Hino, all the way.
Join us for the Clash of the Titans at the Inanda Polo Club on the 19th of October, where Africa unites through polo. Proudly brought to you by Titan Law in association with Polo South Africa. Don't miss out. Book your spot on Howler.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Let's talk about gambling now, and we do so in the context of an intriguing report, an important one, I think, put out by the National Gambling Board. It's their 2024-25 annual report presented in Parliament yesterday to the Trade, Industry and Competition Committee. Joining us to go through some of the numbers is the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the National Gambling Board, Lungile Dukwana. Mr. Dukwana, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. I'm looking at a number, and I have to ask you whether I've got it accurately and understood it properly, because it really is quite a startling one. did betting grow 45.7% over the year that you've just reviewed?
Good afternoon, John, and to the 702 listeners, and thanks for having us. Indeed, John, you are correct. In fact, betting has been one of the fast-growing modes that we actually have that are in the gambling space. And if you look at the cause for that, you would trace it back to the time of COVID, where we saw a serious rise in the betting, the online and the betting. And that had an effect, obviously, in terms of the casinos, because you began to see the movement away from going to the casinos physically and people focusing more on gambling. It has grown to that figure. You are correct.
It really is a quite extraordinary number. And one of the things, of course, about online gambling that you seem to highlight in your report, Mr. Dukwana, is it's our regulations, in your view, the view of the board, are inadequate to filter out what is illegal and what is legal.
Well, look, the regulations, I think that have actually ran their course, and we all accept that the environment has been rather very dynamic in terms of changing. The online has come everywhere. Not only South Africa has an issue with the online gambling. It's an international phenomenon. The issue is how do we then become agile enough to make sure that our regulations are able to be adaptable to the conditions that we are actually seeing at this point. Of course, there is a case for amendment of the NGA Act of 2004 to make sure that we cater for the areas of online gambling, because some of the aspects that is giving rise to currently is that we even see some elements of the illegal gambling. And those illegal gambling, some of them may be coming even from the ones who are not licensed in South Africa, who may be international online gamblers or sites that are actually doing that, which gives us a big trouble in terms of managing it, because by their nature they are illegal. So we need to find ways of making sure that we deal with them. And as NGP, one of the things we believe in is actually collaboration, specifically with the law enforcement agencies, to make sure that where there has been an issue of illegal gambling, we prioritize it as a crime, because the NGA Act does provide for fines up to about 10 million rands or 10 years in jail. There is a provision for that. Now, when we work collaboratively with the law enforcement agents and prioritize this, then I can tell you that the results will be different in terms of illegal gambling.
I'm looking at the jobs numbers in your report. Licensed gambling creates 33,160 direct jobs, 144,619 direct, indirect, and induced jobs. Are the bulk of those jobs in physical places where people go to gamble? Casinos would be the most obvious of these. And if online gambling is becoming an increasing component of the overall industry, is the likely scenario that those job numbers are going to decline?
In fact, John, if you look at the statistics, there's a study that was done, I think, in the European Union side, where there is a discovery that 70% of the market share was actually taken by the illegal gamblers, so to speak, or illegal online. There is studies that are suggesting that, but I think that we'll appreciate that the physical online casinos have invested heavily, I think, in terms of infrastructure and in terms of jobs that they actually have. So if there is no a regulation that is adaptable to cater for the current conditions, it may have an effect on that side, because we need to protect our licensed operators, and we need to protect them from the illegalness. So I know that the department and even the portfolio committee are highly seized with this issue, and they take it very seriously. And I'm sure that there's work that is being done, and we are working with them in addressing those particular issues. But what we think also is important for us to achieve is that as NGP, as we exercise oversight in relation to the implementation of the NGA Act, it's important that we partner with the PLAs, which is the provincial licensing authority, because they are the ones who would be doing most of the licensing, and we come into supporting them and exercise oversight And that partnership is what is defining the effectiveness of the intervention with regard to enforcement, whether it's the legal gambling aspect of it, where they may not be doing it according to license conditions, or the illegal aspect where they are totally ignoring it.
So in your report, you take note or do more than that, but reflect on the fact that there are growing concerns that in particularly using online gambling, people who are in dire straits, perhaps dependent on social grants or other either small or inconsistent forms of income, are looking to gambling, usually sports betting, I would think, as a way of trying to get out of the deep hole they're in. Your concerns about that, as I understand it, Mr. Dukwana, extend to some views on the proliferation of online betting advertising. Just share with us what the National Gambling Board is proposing by way of remedy for that.
Thank you very much for that question, John. I think when we look at the gambling, in fact, why did the law allow it in the first instance? There was only one purpose that it was actually allowing it on the main, is to say that it must be used as a recreational activity. But what we are realizing is that now people have tended to use it as a source of income, because the way it is being advertised, it's advertised as if you are going to win big all the time or most of the time, or you stand a chance of winning big. That attracts people into the gambling space a lot, but also it makes some of what we would regard as aspects that we need to manage in relation to the messages that they give in the advertising element. But there's another bigger issue where we see that the most prominent people in our society, especially that they are younger, the influencers, are actually being used to advertise some of these gambling operators. Now, what that happens is that if you are a young person and you're looking at a younger person who's advertising it, you identify with it because the following of that person is actually young people. So it is an issue that we are taking up, because we have agreed that we are going to be looking at enforcing even more of this, because we've been working on the issue with the PLA. So that's one aspect. It is also the issue that we are discovering that the people who are actually on social grants, some of them are using that money to actually gamble. And that needs a serious engagement between ourselves and the SASSA. We are working with them on some of the campaigns that we are doing about the awareness and education around the dangers of gambling.
Thank you so much. There's so much to talk about there. Maybe you've got a view on that. Should there be different kinds of regulation, more regulation? Should marketing be controlled? That was, and we thank him for his time, Lungile Dukwana, who's acting CEO at the National Gambling Board. 28 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, a very good afternoon to you. Don't worry about new words to talk about gold. Just say the gold price. We know what you mean.
John, thanks very much indeed. That's extraordinarily nice of you. The gold price really hovering over the JSE because it's pushing the indices up quite so strongly, despite the fact that there is a lot of corporate news. Resources are up over 5% on the day, John. The gold price over $4,260 announced. The JSE All Share ending the day up 1.25% at 113,024 points. Financials down 0.06. Industrials down 0.65. Resources up 5.29% on the day. Platinum is up 2, by the way. Platinum's up 2.5% on the day, and that, of course, having a big impact on those shares. So Sibanye leading the pack, up 8%. Goldfields, Harmony, Northam, Anglo Gold, Volterra, DRD Gold, all of them up by over 4%, but very, very strong day for resource stocks on the JSE. The Premier Foods Group announcing, or the Premier Group announcing, it's made an offer for the frozen meals company, the Rhodes Food Group. It'll give the Rhodes Food Group's shareholders 1 share in Premier for 7 shares in RSG. Premier saying the two companies don't compete against each other. Their operations are entirely separate. They do have customers in common, so there's a lot of work they could do there together. Karoo down 5.28% on the day. That's despite what seemed like quite a strong update yesterday. That's the security technology company. And Advitech down 4%. Premier is down 3.4% on the news today. Often the case, one company makes an offer for the other. The company that makes the offer goes down. The company that is the subject of the offer goes up. And SAPI down nearly 3%. PSG Finance down 2.6% despite reporting, that's PSG Financial Services, despite reporting recurring headline earnings per share are up by 21%. I thought that was quite a strong update. We'll discuss that more on the Money Show this evening. And Cashbuild reporting their revenue for the first quarter is up by 6% compared to the previous year. In the US, the main indices opening higher today, more sort of AI froth, if I can call it that. That's partly because of a strong update from the chip maker TSMC. The Dow Jones is up 0.23%, the Nasdaq is up 0.7%, the S&P 500 is up 0.38% on the day. The gold price $4,266.76 points, platinum $1,715.70, Brent crude $62.10, the rand to the dollar 17.27 to the euro, 20.17 to the British pound, 23.19. On the Money Show tonight, we will talk a little bit more about what's happening with Transnet and their big oil terminal in Durban, and the Transport Minister Barbara Creecy actually extending the contracts that are held by some of the big international oil companies by 25 years. No tender, no one else gets a chance, just 25 years we'll keep the same people. Thanks very much. I mean, a bizarre decision. We have asked to speak to her. I don't think that'll happen tonight. Might happen tomorrow. We are going to speak to some other people on the subject, including around the legality of that conversation. Also tonight, how it is that people are putting so much money in gold, normally a safe haven, and so much money in AI stocks at the same time. They can't both be right on one level. I mean, obviously they can. We'll focus on that in investment school to an extent. We'll talk about gold and investment school as well, and food prices to come too. Stephen Grootes, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. 28 minutes now to 6 o'clock. It's time for an update on the news. It's time to clock in once again with Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Gauteng police are investigating a shooting incident in the Germiston CBD, which left a crime prevention warden injured. The Gauteng government says the incident took place yesterday at the Big O scrap metal shop. 5 wardens were on foot patrol when they were informed that a robbery was taking place at the shop. An unknown suspect opened fire on the wardens, injuring Vincenzo Lodvig on his right leg. During a media briefing this morning, Acting Community Safety MEC Jacob Mamabolo says a case of attempted murder has now been opened.
We wish to reassure them about our commitment to make sure that we continue to improve conditions under which they work and make sure that together with them we can crush and fight incidences targeting our law enforcement officers.
Students have been mobilizing at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology's Bellville campus amid concerns over tuition fees today. Disgruntled students say they handed over a memorandum of demands to the CPUT management yesterday. Earlier this week, the institution proposed measures to curb institutional debt, including increased tuition as well as residence fees. Carlo Peterson has more.
South African Student Congress member Siyavuya Mteli says students handed over a memorandum to CPUT management at 4 p.m. yesterday. Mteli says CPUT was given 24 hours to respond to their demands, which include scrapping its proposed measures to curb institutional debt. The plan includes an application fee, increased tuition and residence fees, and an upfront tuition fee payment of 3,500 rand.
We submitted a memorandum yesterday as students, so we are waiting, mobilizing, because we anticipate that they might not give us the response that we want.
CPUT spokesperson Lawden Kansley confirmed receipt of the memorandum, saying it's important to note that there are no approved plans to adjust student fees at the institution. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
The Centre of Excellence for Food Security says while South Africa is considered a food-secure country, many households face food insecurity. The concerns come as the globe marks World Food Day. It adds that there's also been a big shift from whole to more processed foods, which lack nutritional value. Director at the centre, Julian May, says this is often because processed foods tend to be cheaper.
we also have an enormous problem of overweight and obesity. And that is because people are eating food which is energy dense but is poor in providing nutrition. And that's not because people are greedy or people are spending too much money on the food. It's because those are the kinds of foods that are cheap.
At the same time, the Pope has described the world's failure to stop millions of people going hungry a collective failure. It comes after the World Food Agency announced that 319 million people are facing acute food insecurity, including 44 million in emergency levels of hunger. Pope Leo says large amounts of food have gone to waste in the world, while multitudes of people scramble to find something to put in their mouths. A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 14 and 15 degrees and highs of between 26 and 28.
Bedford View stationary truck on the N3 southbound near Van Buren causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from Modderfontein Road. Also, as a result, there's also like a 20-minute delay. This is on the R24 westbound from Edenvale Road to the Gilulis interchange.
The top story in EWN, Gauteng police are investigating a shooting incident in the Germiston CBD, which left a crime prevention warden injured.
702 afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
All of the different faiths have their various days, even though they're not necessarily public holidays. Are there any faiths that we aren't paying attention to or showing much love to?
Of course, no doubt, no doubt. In fact, the scales are really not balanced when you look at how privileged Christianity is. It's a fact that Christianity is more privileged, but that goes with the history. And so the other faiths also may need to be putting a bit more pressure on their visibility and asking for their share of recognition from society.
Professor Smangaliso R. Kumalo, Dean of the School of Religion, Philosophy and Classics at the University of KwaZulu-Natal.
702 afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Calling all golf pros. Hollywood Bets invites you to step onto the green. Tee up, take a swing and enjoy glorious golf action from electrifying competitions and thrilling live tournaments. Get ready to conquer the fairway and chase epic fortunes. Ready to master the odds and experience your crowning moment? Bet now on all the excitement and prepare to make your hole-in-one shot to sensational success. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
You can become a victim of a legal problem. Wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, life is so unfair, man. This gold price is going up and up and up and up. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. But watch out. Watch the space. Watch the space next year when the financials come, and watch the CEO bonuses of all these mining companies. You must just watch the CEO bonuses, and you ask yourself, this gold price, it's got nothing to do with their performance. It's just a gold price. But watch and see how much they are going to milk it. Whereas the miners themselves, the workers down there, are getting nothing. Just watch, John.
Hello, Dr. John and the team. On a lighter note, there's some Discovery adverts that you guys played about some chicken run with Discovery partnering with Nando's. If I'm being honest with you, I expected you to say, come run your 5 kilometers, and at the end, you'll get a full chicken from Nando's. Thank you for a great show. Bye.
I can't promise chickens on behalf of anyone else. But tell you what, tomorrow we'll get someone in who's organizing the run. We'll find out exactly what's going on, whether there's going to be some cool food at the end. Well, it wouldn't be cool food with Nando's. It would be hot. But you know what I mean, whether there's going to be that kind of thing at the end of the run. We'll do that on the show tomorrow. I know Mandy had an update and some information earlier in the week on the Midday Report, so you could pick that up on primemediaplus.com. But we'll do it again because I'm sure there's some new questions. We'll see if we can answer them. 20 to 6.
EWN Sport.
The Proteas women, they seem to have nerves of steel, even if those of us watching don't. 2 great victories snatched, and they're in action again tomorrow, Tola Kele.
Yes, they are, John. And Nonkululeko Mlaba says the Proteas women have a good idea of what to expect from Sri Lanka. That's when the two nations clash at the World Cup on Friday. They drew 1-1 in the 3-match ODI series in April last year, while South Africa come into the game on the back of 3 consecutive wins in this tournament.
I think that's obviously part of the game. As a team, you start off well, and then sometimes you just lag here and there. But then it's just a matter of trying to bring the team together and just try and focus and do well on that certain period. I've watched a lot of games and a lot of teams. They've also been going through the same as us. So it's part of the game. It's cricket. So.
Australia have secured their place in the semi-finals with 2 games to spare following a comprehensive 10-wicket win over Bangladesh. The defending champions chased down their victory target of 199 in less than 25 overs. That's thanks to Elisa Healy's 73-ball century, which is a second in as many games. Switching over to football, where Gavin Hunt has emphasised the importance of local teams, coaches and players putting on their best displays over the next 9 months. This comes after Bafana qualified for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, while they'll find out their group opponents after the draw on the 5th of December. Hunt has also praised the growth of former SuperSport United players that were part of the national team.
You watch them and you watch with pride, obviously, you see where they've gone and where their careers have gone, and they've done well. And they've had good careers, and hopefully, when they finish, that they can look after, money that they've made, investment, and have a career after football, like a lot of these guys from Betway have, So I think that's important. But the characters are good. They're all good characters, so that's I know they'll have good careers, when it finally comes to an end.
And LeBron James has been taken to court by a fan over fraud, deception and misrepresentation as he claims he was deceived out of hundreds of dollars spent purchasing tickets for an LA Lakers game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The fan is hoping to reclaim the cost of tickets for the game worth $865 to what they believe would be the basketball star's final match against his former team. The legal action comes after James teased a second decision announcement, which had many fans speculating that he was preparing to announce the end of his playing career ahead of his 23rd NBA season. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
17 minutes to 6. Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Bedford View still sticky, eh?
Yes, we still have that stationary truck on the N3 southbound near Van Buren, still causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from London Road. Also, as a result, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. That's coming from Edenville, R24 westbound, from Edenville Road to the Gilulis interchange. In 4 ways, heading towards 4 ways. Traffic is sluggish on the N1 South between Rivonia Road and Malibongwe Drive. Bryanston, there's still slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Main Road. Windsor West, Randburg, traffic sluggish on Payers Nodia between Judges and the N1, and in Waterkloof, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N1 North between the R21 Flying Saucer interchange and Linwood Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive at 16 minutes to 6. Now, yesterday, in the little bit of music that we always do at the end of the show, we were asking you for songs that started off really well and had really disappointing choruses. Then we thought, that was a little bit, I wouldn't call it a downer, but you didn't exactly flock in with your song. So we thought, okay, let's do it this way round and ask you for songs that, in your view, just have the absolutely best choruses. Now, if you want to send that to us by way of a voice note on 072 702 1702. You're welcome to give us your version of that chorus. Just the once. We don't need it like 4 or 5 times, but feel free to sing that chorus that you think just absolutely knocks the socks off the song. Give us a ring on that on 011 883 0702 if you want to chat. But let's start you off with one of our own choruses. And Rifui Litsua has picked something. What you got?
Good afternoon, Papa John, and to the rest of the 702 family. I already feel judged, but you know what? I'm going to stand. This is my truth. So I love the song As by George Michael and Mary J. Blige, right? And then the chorus for me, I think choruses are just supposed to be simple, John.
Yes.
Simple. So one of the first line is, they say, until the rainbow burns the stars out of the sky. That is so poetic for me.
Yes.
It's simple, and it just shows the intensity of I will love you until these things happen.
So who's going to judge you for this?
Kabazela judged me.
Well,
Tolagela judged me.
Oh, really?
A couple of people.
It's mounting up already.
It's mounting
That's
up.
2 out of a population of 60 million. But hey, I think you're probably good. Well, let's hear it for ourselves. So give us the title again in the song.
Oh, so it's As by George Michael and Mary J. Blige.
Here we go.
I'll be loving you always. Until the rainbow burns the stars out of the sky. Always. Until the ocean covers everything. So it's gonna be always. Until the day that it's our day. You know it's gonna be always. Until the day that is the day that I know. Oh. Did you know that true love lasts for nothing? Her acceptance is the way we pay. Did you know that life has given love a guarantee to last through forever?
As George Michael, Mary J. Blige, with 2 talents like that, you probably couldn't go wrong. But agree, I think that's terrific. I have no judgment whatsoever. Great music, choruses, your absolute favorites. Please give me a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. We're back with the very best in just a moment.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car on the way to the hospital carrying an elderly couple, playfully bantering about who their first grandchild will look like. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's bringing 2 generations together. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 200-gram Baker's Blue Label Mori biscuits assorted. Buy any 2 for 30 Rand. Save 14 Rand with Spar Rewards. Or 700-gram Spar pre-packed cheese assorted for 99.99. Save 33 Rand with Spar Rewards. Price is valid 8 to 20 October 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again, in, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
How do you deal with people who interact with the opinions that you give on air? Because I find that sometimes people don't understand that actually part of my job is to have an opinion.
Clement, when I fill out forms of what's your occupation, I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
But on air, I'm a broadcaster. And a broadcaster whose job description is to talk about current affairs or social issues, interview credible people, formulate and deliver an opinion, and with the principle of talkback radio, deliver that opinion because it agitates an opinion in you, the listener, to share your opinion. Yeah. And you know what? Your opinion's going to agitate another person's opinion. And then you know what happens? We get South Africa talking.
Lester Kivet.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, Dr. John and your listeners and the 702 lenders. Mine is very simple and it's also poetic. It's the one that talks about the fact that there's no one like you. That's your superpower. The song goes like, or the chorus rather goes like, Asozabe kofana nawe. Ofanana, sozabeko, sozabeko fanana. Oh, I love it. Mid-range, Portia.
Hi, John. Hope you're good, man. John, for me, the song that has a very, very beautiful chorus, and I always enjoy it, and I find myself whistling it just about every day. It's the song Drift Away, but I like the version done by Michael Bolton. Drift Away.
Feeling the strain, headed a shame, killing the deep voice and free my soul. Wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Oh yeah, killing the deep voice and free my soul. Wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away.
Yeah, I like the song, but I have to say I much prefer the Dobie Gray version. Anyway, Michael Bolton for some, Dobie Gray for me. Now, Tabisaw responds to as George Michael and Mary J. Blige, and he sends me this message, and I hope I'm going to pronounce this properly. Hi. Okay, no, there were only... Anyway, Tabisaw says, that's a Stevie Wonder song. Of course it is. Thank you. I should have heard that. George Michael and Mary J. Blige did the cover. Please give Stevie the credit for brilliant songwriting. I hope we've done it justice. Terrific song and one of so many by a quite extraordinary artist. Now, what have we got? I'm just checking. We got a message from Maroti. Yeah, and Maroti said, in fact, this was yesterday when we were trying to get you to give us bad choruses. Maroti just said, everyone hold the phone and take a cue from the Bee Gees. You win again. Now that, Maroti says, is a chorus and a half. Let's hear it.
We got a little bit falling out, but then it's another part. There's no fight, I can't fight. This battle I've fought with me, you win again. So little time, we do nothing but compete. There's no life on earth, no other could see me through. You win again. So little time, but if anybody can, we can.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That is a fabulous chorus. Of course, what we're doing is we're playing the choruses, and we're doing that because we want to get in as much as possible. But the chorus lives in the context of the song, and that one really just grows out of some really nice songwriting, singing, and of course, instrumentation building up to it. So, good one. Thank you, Maroti. Let's have some more.
I think just absolutely knocks the...
Hi, John and team. Morgan Wallen. I just want to love somebody who won't leave a hole in my heart. I think that's the best chorus any song can have.
I think the song is by Pharrell, Happy. I think it's got one of the most beautiful choruses. Unfortunately, I don't have a singing voice. I don't want to hurt anyone else's ears. But yeah, I think Happy, even when it was released, it was quite a big hit.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news talking this and that.
Yes, undoubtedly. Pharrell Williams. Do you remember when that song came out? I mean, there was an absolute flood. I don't know if it matched the Jerusalem dances, but there were so many corporate and institutional gatherings of people who did their own dance to Pharrell and Happy. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Some of them were really good, but yeah, a very, very good song indeed. Mo says, Piano Man, of course, everybody knows the rest of the... nobody knows the rest of the lyrics when we sing it at weddings, but everyone comes in for the chorus. Mo, obviously involved in the live music industry. Thanks for that, Mo. We'll dig that out if we can.
Hey, John, 702 team, Paul, Johannesburg. It's probably an oldie. You may recognize it, Boston, More Than a Feeling. It's got this massive build-up, and then the lead guitar comes in, and then the More Than a Feeling gets blasted. It's a road trip song. You got to listen to it super loud. That has got an amazing chorus. Thanks. Have a goodie. Cheers. Hey, John.
Yeah, I definitely do know More Than a Feeling, and a very, very nice song, actually. And the way you describe it is perfect. That's what I was saying a little bit earlier, that the chorus comes out of the... Because, we were talking about, can you have a good song and then you have a bad chorus? And obviously that's happened in a few instances. But I'm not sure you can just have a good chorus if you don't do all the other stuff. It's a bit like saying great icing when, the cake is inedible. 702 Drive, please keep coming with your suggestions of great songs and great choruses. Jill says the chorus of Sweet Surrender by John Denver. The chorus starts with a surprising note. I don't know enough about music. I don't know the song, that particular song well enough. Costello says, best chorus for me, among others, Stand by Slim Shady and Dido. That comes from Mohammed. Thanks, Mohammed. Let's go back to the voice notes.
A song by Roxette, She's Got the Looks.
She's got the look. 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 What in the world can make a brown-eyed girl turn blue? When everything I'll ever do, I do for you. And I go la 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 la. She's got the look.
Roxette there with She's Got the Look. Now, earlier we had somebody punting the credibility and the credentials, shall I rather say, of Mr. Mister by Kyrie. Judge for yourself. Yeah, got that one wrong. I called it Kyrie. Sorry about that. Medora says it has to be Lauryn Hill to Zion. Songs with great choruses. Boy, you've sent us some good ones. We're not in a position to play all of them because we are coming to the end of the show. And thank you for all your contributions, not just the music, but your thoughts on the big issues of the day. We have a lot of debate around the SAFA issue. We'll try and pick up on that story tomorrow. One more chorus before we go.
Hi, John. Great show. Glenn here from Sandton. The song for me is We Are the Champions. The chorus goes, we are the champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting until the end. Thank you to Russie Erasmus for making us champions.
Hi, John. A song by Kid Sweat. Can we make love for the old time's sake? I remember all the love we used to make. You were mine before your ways. Thank you. Lovely show.
Yeah, thanks. It's been fun today, and we're going to do it again tomorrow at the same time. Join us at 3, but before that, listen to 702 throughout the day. We've got great stuff for you coming up. Good night.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB, proud sponsor of the ABSA Africa Financial Markets Index 2025. Good evening. On your Money Show tonight, the strange contract that sees international oil companies keep their